Oh, are you ready?
ISO. Dama. Woo! Hey, it's too many lies, too many lies. Hey, it's too many lies, too many lies. Yo, it's too many. Hey, it's too many. Yo, it's too many. Yo, it's too many lies. Look in my eyes, they know I'm the truth. Knocking them down every time I step in the booth. We ain't gotta lie, they know we the vibe, we living in proof. It's young conscious, shoot my life a movie, I live in a spoof. Ain't no sticking around, I'm on the move, I'm checking the dudes. Yeah, it's only us two, so you know we copping that coupe. We on the roof, smoking dope, look at the view. Yeah, we used to chill on the stoop, now we out here breaking the news. It ain't shit you really could do, cause we ain't got nothing to lose. We ain't switched side with no cruise, we just stayed out of the loop. Now we out here letting it loose, every shot we took it was swoosh. Gotta get it, ain't no excuse, ain't shit left to prove. Hey, yeah. Hey, it's too many lies, too many lies, too many lies. Hey, it's too many lies, too many lies, too many, it's too many. Hey, it's too many. Yo, it's too many. Yeah. Ask them a real question, yeah, I bet it's all lies. Hey, they won't cross that line for a fact that's offsides. Hey, too much penalties when they run this back, yeah, it's fines. Hey, could have been here with us, but we do not force no vibes. Hey, she gon' try to whip and let me park it in the driveway. They just want the praise like they got way. Getting so much bread, yeah, the ride way. We done already won, yeah, that's worth the ride way. But they still lying right through their teeth, and they still hiding behind many truths. They was D9, watch my every move, tell them keep fine. Leave that shit on scene, I ain't replying. Less I know you, that don't mean I'm Hollywood. That just mean I'm Hollywood. All y'all, I probably stood on the falls, all cause. More times I probably should. I don't know nobody like us. You see how much time it took? Yeah. Hey, it's too many lies, too many lies, too many lies. Hey, it's too many lies, too many lies, too many, it's too many. Hey, it's too many. Yo, it's too many. Whoa. Hey, it's too many lies. Hey, yeah, ISO, Indies, Dama.
Okay, all right. That was real and it was fun. I got to take it off of here. Let me do that. Anyways, how's it going, everybody? So glad you joined. You can join. I'm so glad you're here to join me. I always say the most awkwardest stuff all the time, but mostly right here in the beginning because it's weird. And it's something I can't get used to. Anyway, so we are experiencing some bad weather from Hurricane Beryl, right? And we're catching like the outer bands of it right now. And there's supposed to be some, I guess, more serious weather coming along probably in the next hour, I guess. So, but Donna is the strength of the live stream. Donna is carrying the live stream, I should say. I'm just kind of here. So hopefully it won't affect us. But anyways, to all of those who are experiencing the bad weather, prayers go to you. But anyways, all right. Hey, Rachel and D Max and Gloria Fritz and Angela Davidson and Nikki Rowe and Mad Donut. Hey, Mad Donut, how are you? And I saw this when I came in. I was like, oh, you're so. Oh, that's not it. That's not the one. He said, Robbie said, hello, my fellow bus flippers. I was like, all right. I am no pot stirrer, he said. That's funny. I know, Miss Judy, I did. Yeah, I was compiling my little clips back here. So I was like, okay, time to stop juking around and get on here and go live, right? Just me. How are you? And thank you, D-Max. It's actually the intro is actually the trailer for No Remorse it's a documentary that Justin Lum did for Justin Lum from Fox 10 Phoenix. So I went to, just grab some clips from that. And then I had that song already picked out, I guess you could say. I had it downloaded already. And so many lies, it is. They are. That's all this is so many lies. But basically that trailer was perfect with the timing and everything. And I was like, well, I'm just going to roll with it. So added a few things in there, but nothing. I can't take too much credit for it, is basically what I'm saying. So thanks to all that are here. Hey, Davis, how are you? And Miss Dora, how are you? Cheyenne Pina, how are you doing? Lamisa, how are you? And Miss Janelle, loving your book. Awesome. Awesome, awesome, awesome. I'm so glad. KK's Way, I'm really looking forward to this. Yeah, I don't think Melanie Boudreaux Pawlowski is looking forward to this, in my opinion. I wouldn't be. Yeah, I'm like a 2-year-old with a crayon, huh? Just saying. Anyways, how goes it? It's going. It's going. It always goes. Steamrolls, I guess. Hey, Huggy Bear, how are you? Samantha, hi from UK. How are you? Beach Lady, hey, welcome in, welcome in. Glad you can join us. Let me go and I'm going to go ahead and pull up the FOIA docs. Every time I read them, I'm always like, oh my God, this is nuts. How can there not be any charges for damn Melanie Boudreaux? And I mean, it's not like I'm wishing like harm or anything ill on the girl. I'm just, it is what it is. It is. I didn't do it. I didn't do it. And it's not my fault. It's not your fault. It's choice and a consequence, basically. You can't be doing all these kind of things and then expect to also be a victim or whatever. That's my whole thing with like Summer Shiflett. That's my whole thing with Melanie Boudreaux Pawlowski. That's my thing. Is just like, wait, well, didn't you kind of you really were into this? You were right there along, especially Melanie Boudreaux. She was right there, basing life-changing decisions, in my opinion, off of what Aunt Lori says. Okay, before we came up, Donna was like, she told me, just like Melanie Boudreaux is the niece of Lori. She was like, you are too. And I was like, yeah, it's crazy. Except Melanie is blood and I am not. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, God. Right. Oh, oh my God. Oh, okay. Phew. I mean, that's a lot better than what I just read in Donut. I was like, oh my God, he got killed in a car accident. That's what I saw. So I'm glad that I read it wrong. And yeah. Yeah. It just went, no. At 80 miles per hour, that's weird. Yeah. Usually they come to a rolling stop. So many questionables. Yes. So many more questionables. Yes. Same here. They need to say out loud, we are not going to kill our kids. I'm just going to say, we're not going to kill our kids. We're not going to kill our kids. We're not going to kill our kids. Right. And that's bad. It doesn't look good. It's not a good look. So let me see. Let me copy my little, let me put this in the chat before we get started. Anyways, this is the link to this document that I have it uploaded to my Dropbox account. Please, please feel free to look for yourself, you know? No, I can't believe them. Yeah, the wind is very gnarly right now. Okay, well, it's sent on here, but it didn't send. But it says having trouble connecting. Please check your internet connection for it to post, but it posted anyways. I don't know. It's weird. Hey, Lynn K, how are you? Okay. So what I'm gonna do is just I'm gonna read this little portion right here, which is on page 2 of 3, which is at the very end of. Oh my gosh. Well, it's not that easy, is it? Is it ever? Mm-mm. Let's see. I'm trying to see. It's at the end, towards the end of the document. So the main the main body of the FOIA request in this FOIA document of the Gilbert investigation. This is more from like Brandon Boudreaux's investigation, all the things that were investigated due to what happened to Brandon on October 2nd, 2019. So there's two different sets. There's the FOIA docs from Chandler, Arizona, which is the 1108 page document that focuses mainly on the crimes of what happened to Charles Vallow that day and how they're like talking to Gilbert. They're talking to Rexburg police. They're talking to Fremont County. They're talking to the FBI. And so this one is more Gilbert. This is through that investigation. But I wanted to, whoa. What did I just say? Let's see. Okay, so we'll come back to that. But I'm starting at the end. Going to read this little part right here, and then I'll go back up. Because I've been trying to figure out how to phrase it, how to pose it, how to angle it, I guess you could say. But I just kind of wanted to read this part right here, and then I'll go back. Okay, so this is a supplemental report, narrative topic, probable cause, and it says criminal charges. The narrative, it says the following are the criminal charges that will be submitted to the Maricopa County Attorney's Office against the associated offenders. That's a new phrase, huh? For their involvement with the attempted homicide of Brandon Boudreaux. Details of the events and the related evidence resulting in the submitted charges can be reviewed in previous supplemental reports. Okay. Additional evidence, information, statements, and testimony may be learned as criminal proceedings related to this case occur in other jurisdictions. They said that on the stand. As a result, charges may later be added or amended. Oh my gosh, right? So, probable cause statement right here. It says digital, physical, audio, and video evidence gathered and processed throughout the duration of the combined investigations has revealed Alex, Lamar Cox, Lori Vallow Daybell, and Chad Guy Daybell conspired and executed the premeditated murders of multiple victims. All the victims were family members of the offenders. The victims were murdered as a result of the offenders' beliefs that the victims were possessed and had dark, they quoted it, souls, amongst other deviant conditions. Between October of 2018 and October of 2019, Alex, Lori, and Chad identified Brandon Boudreaux as a dark soul. All three of them. Okay. Lori had extensive communication with Melani Boudreaux Pawlowski, which resulted in Melanie and Brandon's separation and divorce. On September 17, 2019, Brandon provided Melanie with his rental address. That's so important to me, in my opinion, because let's continue. Per Melanie's request, that address was known to few people. Only Melanie had relations with the offenders. Between 9/26/2019 and 9/29/2019, Melanie visited Lori and Alex in Idaho. That's right. That's what I'm saying. Okay, so if you put this into perspective, on September 26th, Melanie went to Rexburg, okay? She spent time with Lori and Alex over there in Idaho, right? The kids were dead at this point. Okay. And so that's 3 days. And again, Tylee's Jeep sat there. Tylee wasn't driving it. JJ's not around, but his nanny was just so good with him, she's just so helpful. It doesn't add up for me. I'm just like, bullshit, Melanie, you knew. You conspired, in my opinion. So anyways, Melanie visited Lori and Alex in Idaho. So on 9/29, she flew back to Arizona, okay? 9:30 happens, 10/1, and 10/2 is the day they took the shot, that Alex took the shot at Brandon. So, I mean, within 3 days. Yeah, wait. 29th. She went home on 29th, 30th, and then the 1st. So within 2 days, under 3 days, Brandon would be shot at. Okay, it's just weird. It's pretty damning to me. Melanie flew back to Arizona on 9/29, 2019. Between 9:25 and 9:30. I mean, I just got that. Alex, Lori, and Chad prepared for Brandon's murder. Some of those preparations included the involved Jeep Wrangler's window tinting, which there was a receipt found, the removal of the Jeep's back seat, the removal of the Jeep's back wheel, a rental of a storage unit where the Jeep's wheel and seat were stored, Alex going to the shooting range, and the use of throwaway phones by Chad and Alex. On the evening of 9/30, 2019, Alex drove the Jeep Wrangler from Rexburg, Idaho, and arrived near Gilbert, Arizona on 10/1 at approximately 19:30 hours. That's a whole day ahead of time. That's a whole day because Brandon was shot at on 10/2. Where did Alex stay this night? Did he stay with Zulema, who, I mean, he wasn't really dating, It stinks. It stinks. So let me go pull something up real quick. Yeah. Okay. All right, let's watch this real quick. Oh my God, I hate the damn sound from East Idaho News. I'll never get used to it.
I'm Nate Eaton, and we are getting a closer look at surveillance footage from Self Storage Plus in Rexburg. This is the facility where Lori Vallow went on October 1st to rent a storage unit, and inside she placed some very personal belongings, such as children's bikes, scooters, also some photo albums, and blankets with pictures of her children, JJ and Tylee. Lori and sometimes 2 men visited the facility 9 times in October and 1 time in November. The big question is what happened on October 2nd. We know that Lori rented the unit by herself the day before on the 1st, but on October 2nd, she came in her blue Nissan Rogue with a man we originally thought was Alex Cox, her brother. But a closer look of enhanced high-quality video shows it likely was not Alex. In fact, it appears to be Chad Daybell, based on the way he walks, looks, and comparing his mannerisms to other video we have of him. Let me walk you through this. The blue Rogue arrives at 2:25. You can see the timestamp says 1:25, but that's because the clocks were off, according to the facility. Lori is driving the Rogue and makes her way to the door of the building where her unit is. She gets out 2 minutes later at 2:27 with the man we believe is Chad. At 2:29, he pulls a tire out of the back of the Rogue and rolls it into the storage unit. Then 1 minute later, he and Lori both carry in together what appears to be a removable car seat. They put it in the locker, shut the door, and leave the facility at 2:32. Their entire visit is just 7 minutes. So why does this matter? Well, that same day, Brandon Boudreaux says that he was shot at in Gilbert, Arizona around 9:30 that morning while coming home from the gym. Brandon had been married to Melanie, Lori's niece, and he had a very large life insurance policy and assets totaling over $1 million. Months earlier, Melanie began spending a lot of time with Lori and her religious group. Then Melanie suddenly demanded a divorce from Brandon. The bullet missed his head by inches, and police say the person who shot at him was driving a Jeep registered to Charles Vallow. Charles had been dead for nearly 3 months at this point, and Tylee Ryan regularly drove that Jeep, but she had been missing for more than a month at this point. Now, if you're familiar with Jeeps, you know that many models have spare tires on the back, and if they are in place, the back window does not open. But if they are removed, that window does open. So it's possible that the Jeep used in that shooting had the tire removed, and that tire could have been placed into the storage unit along with the back seat of the Jeep. We would ask Alex Cox if that was the case, but we can't because he's dead, and police are not commenting. But if Cox was not in Rexburg, it's possible he was in Arizona, inside Charles Vallow's Jeep. The next day, back in Rexburg, Lori returns to the storage facility with another man who we believe is Alex. They were there for 3 minutes. You can see them entering, working their way to the same door she was at the day before, and going into the building. Compared to the guy from the day before, this man walks differently and carries the tire out rather than rolling it. The man we think is Cox also carries out the car seat by himself without any help from Lori. Originally, we thought this was a tote with something hanging over the end, but this higher quality video shows that it appears it's actually a vehicle seat, and Lori and Alex are likely taking it away. 3 days later, on October 6th, Alex returns to the storage unit by himself in his silver pickup and comes 5 other times that month, including a visit on October 28th with a man who appears to be Chad Daybell. They stay 6 minutes and wheel in bikes and other items. The last time anyone visits the storage locker is November 24th. Lori and Chad stay for 4 minutes and drop off this Home Depot box and a tote, leaving belongings of JJ and Tylee never to return. Police have now seized all of the items that were inside of that storage unit, along with the Jeep that was used in the shooting of Brandon. I'm Nate Eaton for EastIdahoNews.com.
Noise. Okay. I hate the damn. It's not good for people with PTSD. I'll tell you that right damn now. Anyways, okay, so now that we have that context, right? Let me get back to the documents. Okay. Oh, here they are. All right. All right. So, where are we at? All right. So let's go to here. On 10/2/2019, at approximately 07:18 hours, Alex looked up directions to Brandon's rental address, which I think he would have only gotten from his niece, Melanie. Okay? Just saying. That's part of the conspiracy. Now, she can sit here and try to fool herself that she had nothing to do with it, but I think that's inaccurate. Okay. Alex looked up directions to Brandon's rental address while parked approximately 2 miles away. At approximately 07:15 hours, Brandon left his residence with his children. And again, I want to stress the point of kind of history is an indicator of future behavior. And that, this has to do with Lori. Lori has a thing about kid exchanges, if you know what I'm saying. With Joe, that's when Alex attacked Joe Ryan, was at a kid exchange whenever he was walking out of the kid exchange, or Joe Ryan was walking out of the kid exchange, and Alex walks up, tasers him, and then he did serve minimal jail time, 3 months, and then he basically plotted while he was in jail. He wrote a letter to his friend Mary Tracy, basically saying, hey, can you give this to Janice? There's some, guys that want, basically he's recruiting people from inside the jail, saying that he's a pervert, and that jail guys, they don't like perverts, some weird thing, so that happened around a kid exchange. Then Charles, on July 11, 2019, a kid exchange. Lori has Alex sleeping over the night before, waiting on my Uncle Charles to show up to pick JJ up. Okay. Here we go. This, I think, is number 3, where there's a kid exchange that just it's right within this kid exchange time, and following what's her name? Shauna. Oh my God. Shanna Gardner. That was also like a kid exchange. He had just dropped his twins off and he was gunned down right in front of his 2-year-old with his second wife. It just really reeks of that, It's so nasty. People are nasty. All right. So approximately 7:15 hours, Brandon left his residence with his children. At approximately 7:19 hours, so 4 minutes after Brandon left, Alex drove to Brandon's address and parked outside, where he waited for approximately 118 minutes. That's a hot minute. At and that this is blurred out, so I don't know what it says. At approximately 9:14 hours, Brandon drove towards his driveway when Alex opened the back window of the Jeep and shot at Brandon's moving vehicle. The projectile hit the front driver's side A-pillar, but did not strike Brandon. Brandon called 911 as Alex drove away. And again, it's redacted. At approximately 13:30 hours, Chad and Lori were captured. Hold on. Okay. At approximately 13:30 hours, Chad and Lori were captured on surveillance, storing the Jeep's wheel at the storage unit. Redacted. On 10/3, so it's the next day, 2019, at approximately 04:30 hours, Alex returned to Rexburg, Idaho in the Jeep Wrangler. He's back home. At approximately 14:11 hours, Lori and Alex were captured on surveillance, removing the Jeep's wheel and backseat from the storage unit, not the Jeep. And so right here it says criminal charges. The below charges are being forwarded to the Maricopa County Attorney's Office against Chad Guy Daybell and Lori Noreen Vallow Daybell. 1 count Arizona revised statute, and it reads the statute, first-degree murder, attempted conspiracy to commit via Arizona revised statute. Then it says Alexander Lamar Cox died in Gilbert, Arizona on 12/12/2019. If Alex were alive, he would have been arrested and charged for the same offense. As of this supplement, charges are not being submitted against Melanie Boudreaux Pawlowski. Boom. And I mean, it just leaves you with that. That's it. Then it, I also have this police report too. I don't have it pulled up, but I'll have to go and grab those links and put them under the description box after we're done today. So the Mesa one right here was to do with the computer tampering charge that was for Melanie basically jacking with Brandon's banking stuff. And she was trying to use it. I don't really know it verbatim, but she was at one of their custody hearings in 2020. She basically broke into their accounts, and she printed off a check or something to do with that, and she used it in court to try and disparage Brandon, and he's like, well, hello, you little fraudulent girl, but so I just wanted to start with the end kind of, and then kind of work. We can either go backwards or we can go, that's just it. I kind of feel like we should go backwards. I'm not a timeline person. However, they are in a timeline fashion because, somebody else put it that way. The investigator put it that way. But if I go backwards, it's just basically, it'll start with like the interview with Melanie, the interview with Melanie Gibb, the Natalie Pawlowski stuff, Ian Pawlowski, and it'll just kind of do that. Hey, little bit. Hey, Robinette. Hey, Hippie Gypsy. Hey, Betty Lester. How are y'all? Police station. Let's see. Hey, Trace. I do too. Bev. I do. And I mean, again, this is like in my mind going through all this in real time. I'm just not one of a conspiracy, you're just like, okay. There's too many people, too many moving parts. Oh my God. Okay. Especially dealing with it in real time, in real life, I mean, this was happening in to my family. So, but so whenever I kind of really learned what a conspiracy meant in this case, because again, I didn't really pay attention to things like this or have to really know the ins and outs of things. I knew what a conspiracy was, but basically, but in terms of this case, this case, I've had to learn a lot of things about what's what. Yeah, it's so many things for me. But in this case, it's like I could see so easily with my mind and my eye, and just for myself, I could see where, oh, wow, that's a textbook freaking conspiracy right there. You got them rolling the tire in and out, setting up the Jeep, basically tinting the windows. You've got Chad, Alex, and Lori. I mean, initially when I saw the video, that storage unit video, it freaked me out because I was like, "Oh my god, that tote, it looked like it." I mean, it was a Jeep seat, actually. I didn't know that though. We didn't know that. And I was just more concentrating on what the hell is that, one of the kids? Is that a leg, an arm hanging out of that? What is that? And the kids were missing at this time. So, I mean, that's how it so it was hard to just, or it took a lot to just kind of, okay, no. That was not the kids. But then this is the conspiracy. This is them over here doing, Lori and Chad, and or Lori and Alex, and or just Alex. And then we just read for ourselves in the investigation documents that Melanie was up in Rexburg, where there's not really going to be any text exchanges going on because they're together. So, I mean, one can only think that Melanie went up there to plot, in my opinion. Just not as, you can't be dumb. And then here comes Ian Pawlowski later on, which I'll never, this will never just resonate with my soul as to why these two ended up together, Melanie and Ian. I don't get it. Whatever. I don't really have to get it, I guess, but I don't think it's just as hunky-dory as Melanie would like us to believe. Like, "Oh, we were just young and it happened all so fast." Uh, it's weird. It's weird. I don't get it. I don't like it. And then how is Ian coming in after the fact? Okay, after all the kids are murdered, Tammy's murdered, I'm sorry, Brandon got shot at, and then Ian is gonna be the one to sit there, that the cops utilize to, I mean, that makes sense to me, but it just doesn't add up. You've been together, what, 2 days? It just don't. Anyways, again, it don't have to make sense to me, I guess. All right. Let's see, I already forgot where it was. Okay, so yeah, that was the probable cause statement and basically recommending the charges for them. So I don't know. Is it okay if we go backwards, or that's what I was trying to ask y'all, but forgot. Yeah, a dating site. They just so happen to live across the street. Ooh, I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is. Hold on. Ooh. Let's see here. Videos. I'm trying to think of which one. Why, Lori, what? What is this one? Okay. Not part 3, not part 3. I mean, this was interesting too. Let me open this one up in a new window. We'll go over that too. Which is, could Lori Vallow Daybell's niece be charged in attempted murder of her husband, her ex-husband? This one too. Let me just kind of pull this up here. Okay. Oh, I did it again. Let's see.
All right. Well, the first thing I want to start with, Melanie and Ian, is your reaction to the autopsy results, which came out just the other day concerning your uncle Melanie. Were you guys surprised at all? What did you think when you heard the news?
It was relieving, but we weren't surprised. We knew that it would be natural causes. We had no reason to think anything otherwise. I think it was just a comfort, like finally, like this part is over, and it's one more stepping stone to just keep revealing truth. And then, you know, the second half of the day, they open it up and say, well, it's still under investigation again. It feels like every time we get a little bit of good news, there's a little bit of drag to that too. But overall, just relief and comfort to be in the right direction.
You mentioned that they still said they're investigating, and there's going to be people watching that still don't believe those results or say there's something more here. What do you say to them?
I mean, you know, you see, you post truth out there, and people have already made up their minds and decided.
No help from
made
you.
a bad joke, like, well, did they test for all the invisible poisons? Like, it's people will still think whatever speculation or rumors or whatever they want to believe, even when it's right in front of their face.
Melanie, in my opinion, is very much worried about what the world's thinking about them, her. And that tends to be the thing. It's like Emma said the same thing. She's like, people would have you think that my dad was like, how'd she say that? That Chad Daybell was saying, no, I don't want an autopsy. I don't want an autopsy. I'm like, nobody's thinking that, you know, but the mere fact that you're posing it or positing it like that is weird. It's alarming to me, you know, that nobody is sitting there thinking that he was dramatic. Like all the other things we've heard about him pointing at pictures on the wall, being like, oh no, all that bullshit. It's what it is. But so again, she's just like, it's, you post truth out there, and it's like, we have it all wrong, and they just know every damn thing. You know, it's just the world is out to get them. It's
and I was talking about this too. I was like, you know, when Tylee and JJ show up, you know, again, and you're here again, I don't know if people would even believe it. They'd still, you know, go on with their own, you know, still a cult. It's still, they've done something bad, and a lot of people have already made up their minds, and we just want to come on and share what we do know and share truth, and hopefully we, you know, keep getting opportunities where people will be open to that and be able to listen.
So Melanie, Alex was your uncle, and you know, from the beginning, a lot of people have thrown questions out there as to why he died. Was this big a coincidence? Was this just a big coincidence? Did you, from the beginning, think it was, or did, in the back of your mind, did you think there might be something more here?
There was absolute shock when I got a phone call from Zulema, and she was telling me, I had spoken with Alex earlier that day, and he had seemed okay, but I knew that week before he was having trouble with, he was overall a pretty healthy guy, but stubborn, like wouldn't ever, you know, put a Band-Aid on if he's bleeding everywhere, and, you know, wouldn't do regular checkups. He just was a tough guy. And when he told me we were going to meet up at one point, I was going to bring him some of his stuff because he had moved down to be with Zulema, and he then said, hey, you know, let's not meet up halfway. Let's wait. I'm not feeling very good. And that was big for him to say that, because he never would say that he wasn't feeling good. So the week before, he said, you know, I just kind of have tightness in my chest or having trouble breathing. He said he had bent down to get a water bottle and took the breath out of him. And, you know, Zulema was absolutely worried and was like, you need to get to the doctor. And he was like, no, I'm fine. And the morning of, it was really kind of, I called him probably every other day once he wasn't in Arizona anymore, or in Idaho. And the morning I'd called him, Ian was at work, and he was somebody I could kind of just, you could tell him anything. He's like a vault. And I was just openly telling him about, you know, things in my new marriage, things that were, you know, challenging, or things that were going really well. And he was just my best friend at that point. And he shared some things with me that were, I just felt like, write them down when he started talking to me. I don't know why I felt impressed to do that, but
like
he
what?
Just said, you know, he said, Melanie, the most important thing in your marriage is to be loving, be supportive, and be patient. And he kept repeating that. And I was like, I need to remember that always. Like, it always comes back to that. And, you know, it was his last words to me, and I didn't know that. But it was really just special, like, that I felt, you know, like, hey, write that down. And he just said, you know, everything's going to be fine. And, you know, just keep moving forward with faith. You're going to have your kids back soon, and everything's going to work out. And just, you know, just go on faith. And later that evening, I get a call from Zulema, and I think I was excited. I started telling her about my day, and then it just shifted, and Ian was there, and I kind of just went into a shock for a little bit. And I fell to the floor, and I just felt all the feelings of losing such a close friend. And I hadn't been very close with Alex most of my life. I was closer with my aunts and even my other uncle. But after starting to have challenges in my last marriage, Alex was a truck driver, and you could just call him. He always answered, and he would just talk and let you talk to him. And I do talk a lot, and he would let me just vent. And he would say, he'd never would put somebody down or judge them. He would just say, well, here's how you handle that situation. And like, nobody could do any wrong in his eyes. He just was very positive, and somebody that was so influential to be around when I'm going through the hardest thing and missing my 4 children.
Yeah.
He just picked me up every day.
How's Zulema doing?
I love Zulema with all my heart. I feel like it's been really hard. She hasn't been able to really mourn and grieve the loss of her husband. And, you know, all the accusations going out there, she doesn't really feel ready to come forward. And
she was married to the man not even 2 weeks. Okay. I'm just, that's not right. It's just, and it's not like they were dating for years or anything before that. So to me, it sounds like Zulema was very much guilt tripping other people. Like Melanie Gibbs says that she saw she saw Zulema in the temple with, I want to say Summer and Janice, or I don't know, it was something like that. And this is after Melanie Gibb alleges that she had basically kind of told Alex, when she says that whole thing about, do I want to know, Alex, what happened to the kids? And Alex is like, whatever he says, you know, they're somewhere where they'll never be found, or whatever the hell he said. And it sounded like whenever Melanie Gibb went to go, or we saw Zulema after that at the temple, after Alex died and everything, how she just kind of, she, meaning Zulema, she just guilt trips, it sounds like I haven't had time to just, you know, mourn my husband. Like, I don't know. It's weird.
Share that story, and I respect that.
Not genuine.
Or share her feelings on everything. And she's still just trying to get through every day and missing her husband. But she's doing okay.
I want to kind of back up to hear a little bit about each of you guys, because there has been some limited information that's come out about each of you. But would you mind just telling me about yourself, how you guys met, how you ended up in Idaho and then back in Arizona? Ian, could you start?
Yeah, absolutely. So I grew up in Southern California, and I I got married in 2010, moved to Idaho in 2011 with my ex-wife, Natalie. We had 2 kids together. So right now they're 9 and they're 7, Max and Lily.
I met them too.
And, you know, they're fantastic kids. They, you know, I miss them a lot right now. And, you know, I would love to get them down here to Arizona, but, so yeah, we were there with our kids. I started school, at BYU, Idaho. I never finished. Just work, school, and being a dad was too much, and I just figured I'd work. So Natalie and I hit our 9th anniversary, and on our 9th anniversary, she asked for a divorce. And so we worked our way through that. That started in March of 2019.
And then he had DV charges, basically for there was a protective order. And I found it interesting because on the paperwork that I what do you call it? Downloaded, or I printed it off from his court case or whatever, I don't know what it's called. Yeah, it was the court case. And the same kind of, I understand that Rexburg and that whole area is small, right? But the same people, like Rob Wood was listed on there as the prosecutor in Ian's case. And there was the what's his name? Spencer Rammel. Okay. He worked on the kid's case. Who else? Oh, and the attorney that represented Ian was Sean Bartholick. Sean Bartholick, he represented Chad and Lori initially. He's the first one that was like issued the statement, and I don't remember it verbatim, but something about they're both loving parents, and Lori and Chad are both loving parents, and they wanted to move past rumor and speculation. And then Melanie Pawlowski, in my opinion, picks up on that rumor and speculation phrase, and she says it too many times. So let me switch to this one too, real quick.
Welcome back. I'm Anjanette Levy, and thanks for joining us this hour for our live Q&A lunch show about the trial of Lori Vallow Daybell. We're expecting closing arguments in the case tomorrow, but first, before that, at 3 o'clock Eastern time today, 1 o'clock, I should say, Mountain time, Judge Boyce and the attorneys for the prosecution and the defense will be going on the record to discuss what they've been talking about behind closed doors with regard to jury instructions. That, of course, is the roadmap that judges and attorneys hammer out to give to the jury. And this is basically for them to follow instructions when considering each charge and to follow the law. And sometimes there can be little additions made to these, sometimes not. Sometimes they just use a boilerplate jury instruction form, but we'll learn more about that later today. Kathy and Gigi will be in the courtroom for that at 3 Eastern, 1 Mountain time. And of course, we'll keep you up to date on what's in those jury instructions here on Law and Crime, on our YouTube channel, and on lawandcrime.com, our website. We want to get to more of your questions now. This one is from Facebook. It's from Patty Thiel Baker, and she asks, and I'll clean up the language here a little bit. Why the heck wasn't her niece, Melanie, also charged? She had full knowledge that Charles was about to be killed the night before he was fatally shot, but she did nothing. That's criminal. She was aware the kids were more than missing, but never alerted the police. Also criminal. She made a deal with the prosecution to testify so she wouldn't be charged, but weaseled out of it. So deal should be off the table. I call for her to be charged. So Kathy, that was a really long question, and more, you can tell Patty's upset about this. So do you have any idea why possibly Melanie was not charged?
People are really fired up about both Melanies, quite frankly, but Melanie Pawlowski especially, because we see in text messages and all their communication, Melanie believed her kids were zombies. So she was okay that their bodies were going to die at some point. I mean, it's ridiculous what some of these women around Lori believed. And Melanie knew. Lori said it's coming to a head this week when it talks about Charles and the demon coming out of his body. Now, these women, Zulema and Melanie, they participated in these castings where they, stand in a circle and they try to cast out the evil spirits. So could be that Melanie just believed God was going to help them do that. But yeah, and she was here. She was here for several days to testify, and they weren't getting to her, and then the prosecution sent her home. I think she's a wild card. I think in the end they decided it was not worth putting her on the stand. Also, I don't know that she has any deal, so I'm not sure that's true that she has any deal. I don't know. I mean, conspiracy charges. It's crazy when you read a text, and Melanie was so close to Lori that I don't know. I understand why everybody's fired up about her, though.
Yeah, most definitely. And I think, all four of us are mothers, and all four of us can maybe see at some point in time where our kids drive us crazy. That's part of being a mom, but these children, as far as we know, I mean, they were just children, like poor little
Set up
sweet
for failure.
JJ. I mean, I look at that little face and I just can't even imagine, Gigi, you've been in that courtroom. I'm sure there are parents on that jury. Your thoughts on Melanie and her involvement or potential involvement?
We didn't really see kind of the depths of her involvement until after she was sent home. We had that FBI agent on the stand who read the text messages where Melanie acknowledges that her children are dark and she knows this is part of the Lord's plan. So I was really shocked that they let her go home. But I agree with Kathy. I think she was a wild card. I think she was very much under Lori's spell, thought Lori was hung the moon. And so they haven't seen each other in over 3 years. And what happens when she gets on that stand? Does she clamor up and feel like she has to defend Lori? So I'm with Kathy. I think it was an emotional wild card. They didn't want to risk. They've got enough in there. And as far as charges, it could be one of those things where all signs point to yes, but can you get a conviction? And that's why Chad wasn't charged in conspiracy with Charles Vallow's murder, is because even though he was aware, there was nothing that they felt they could prosecute where they would get a successful conviction. So
I think there is
no charges. It could be the same with both Melanies in this case.
Yeah, we just don't know at this point, but it's a good question to ask, no doubt. We're going to take a quick break, so stay with us. We'll be right back.
Okay. Except we're not. We're not going to be right back. Okay, there was one other one that I wanted to play. Well, there's a couple. Let me see. I opened all these and okay, here it is. This is Fox 13 News. And it says, according to newly released documents, Melanie Boudreaux, the niece of Lori Vallow Daybell, and Chad, remember she was calling Chad dad, who is being charged with the desertion of her 2 minor children who are missing. So this is February 23rd, 2020. So they were still missing. Has confessed to her new husband that she was responsible for the attempted murder of her ex-husband, Brandon Boudreaux, and that her uncle, Lori's brother, Alex Cox, was the shooter. It's wild. Let's watch this, though.
The search for the 2 missing children from Rexburg, Idaho continues today as their mother sits behind bars. 17-year-old Tylee Ryan and adopted son, 7-year-old JJ Vallow, have been missing since September. Their mother, Lori Vallow Daybell, was arrested earlier this week in Hawaii.
According to new documents filed in Arizona, Lori's niece, Melani, may have information about the location of JJ and Tylee and has claimed responsibility for the attempted murder of her ex-husband, Brandon Boudreaux.
He and his attorney filed the paperwork one day before Lori's arrest in Hawaii. Fox 15's Adam Herbetz is in studio with an early look at how that story could tie everything together.
You might remember Brandon Boudreaux spoke exclusively with Fox 13 last December about his attempted murder case involving his wife, Melanie, which is Lori Vallow's niece. These documents were obtained through the Arizona court system by our sister station, Fox 10 in Phoenix. Brandon has called himself the spouse who got away from a dangerous cult that includes Chad, Lori, and Melanie. He claims to have information from Melanie's new husband, who he says has been cooperating with law enforcement. The documents state Melanie's new husband listened to her confession that Melanie conspired to kill Brandon at his home in Gilbert, Arizona, and her uncle, Lori's brother, Alex Cox, was the shooter in Gilbert. To her confession that law enforcement. The documents state Melanie's new husband listened to her confession that Melanie conspired to kill Brandon at his home in Gilbert, Arizona, and her uncle, Lori's brother, Alex Cox, was the shooter.
All I could think was, someone's shooting at me. What do I need to do? I need to hit the gas and get out of here.
911, where's your emergency?
Someone just shot my window.
The documents go on to state Melanie knows where JJ and Tylee are, that she is refusing to cooperate, and she will sometimes say, quote, something to the effect that children are full of light, and then just like that, they go dark.
That's
It is
nuts.
important to note Melanie has not been arrested for obstructing justice in Idaho or for attempted murder in Arizona, but she has been arrested for another crime involving her husband here in Utah. Coming up tonight at 9, we'll show you what she has to say about that case and what she has been posting online. But for now, reporting in studio, Adam Herbets, Fox 13 News, Utah.
Signing out. Utah. Okay, let me see. Okay, let's do this one too. Because this is here it is.
Police appeared in a Mesa courtroom today on an unrelated matter.
But it was there that our Justin Lum confronted the niece who's accused of knowing where the missing kids
Justin.
are located. Justin, what happened?
Well, John,
Now
Kerry,
watch
this
who's
is
with
the
her.
first time we got a chance to see Melani Pawlowski face to face this 1 week after the arrest of Lori Vallow. That is her aunt, and Lori Vallow, also the mother of JJ Vallow and Tylee Ryan, her kids who haven't been seen since September. Now, last week we uncovered documents filed by Pawlowski's ex-husband, Brandon Boudreaux. He says she knows where the missing kids are. Remember, she moved to Idaho just 2 months after Lori did. They even lived at the same apartment complex. So I asked her about the kids when she arrived. Take a listen. Melanie, where are JJ and Tylee?
Look, there's Summer right there.
I appreciate you. But
Shut
why
up.
Give respect to the judge.
That's fine. Where are the kids?
I will give respect to the
You
judge.
lived with Lori and Alex at the same complex. Do you have any information or detail on where they
We're
are?
going to give a full.
Summer leading the pack.
Once the judge gets done. I'm hoping that everybody.
When is the last time you spoke to Lori Vallow?
We'll give a full statement.
How often did you speak with Alex up till the day that Brandon was shot at?
We'll give a full statement after we get done. We're going to give.
Are the
respect
kids
to-
okay and are the kids alive?
I'm hoping that you will respect.
Shut up. What did she just
Now,
said?
the reason
Or something?
Pawlowski came here today was for a resolution. Did you speak with Alex up till the day that Brandon was shot at?
We'll give a full statement after we get done.
Did she say
Are
thank
the
you?
kids okay and are the kids alive?
I'm hoping that you will respect.
Oh, the limited. Okay. My bad.
Now, the reason Pawlowski came here today was for a resolution management conference represented by her lawyers. She's fighting for custody of her 4 kids. Her lawyers say she has spoken to the FBI 3 times, but has no information at all on JJ and Tylee. They also say Brandon Boudreaux and Lori Vallow's former husband, Charles Vallow, lied in court documents about both women being in a cult.
I don't know
He lied.
that Melanie has an opinion about
There's Garrett.
any of that other than it's what some people are saying that she said. And here's one of the problems that we've got with questions like that. You're taking material that is taken from a divorce pleading filed by an ex who has, of course,
Who was murdered, you asshole?
as we've seen in this case, motivation to lie, to withhold evidence, to behave in a very bad way. And you're taking that and saying that Lori said she's a god must be a fact. It's something that was written in a divorce statement by an ex who has nothing nice to say about her, nothing good to say about her. Why should we take that as fact or as reliable? So Melanie is very fond of her aunt. Her fondness for her aunt has, I'm sure, very little to do with her religious beliefs, but more to do with the kind of person that she thinks she is.
Right.
There is another hearing on the Boudreaux matter set for March 26th. Meanwhile, Lori Vallow has not yet been extradited to Idaho. We're going to keep you updated on that. And we're going to have more later tonight at 9 and 10 on what happened today. Live in Mesa, Justin Lum, Fox 10 News.
Right.
Stop tying.
Whoa. Yeah, stop tying your shirt like that. I don't know. All right, now let's do this one real quick. I know, I'm sorry.
Around the country are very interested in court documents from the child custody battle involving Lori Vallow and her niece, revealing the new insight from Gilbert police. Fox 10's Justin Lum has been on this story since day one. He joins us live with some new information today. Justin.
And Carrie, we've been following multiple cases linked to the missing children very closely. This one is the Boudreaux custody battle. Court documents show the lawyers for Brandon Boudreaux's ex-wife, Melani Pawlowski, wanted to hear from the lead detective investigating the attempt on Boudreaux's life. Now the town attorney has responded. Gilbert's town attorney, Bill Amato, recently filed a motion to quash a subpoena. The document denies the request by Melanie Pawlowski's lawyers to speak to Gilbert Police Detective Ryan Pillar. Amato says, it has been learned that the family members of Pawlowski and ex-family members of Brandon Boudreaux are connected to multiple ongoing criminal investigations, to include the shooting at Boudreaux.
911, where's your emergency?
They did.
Someone just shot my window.
We caught up with Boudreaux's private investigator, Rich Robertson. Who could those, quote, family members be? Robertson says the suspect in the shooting on October 2nd is believed to be Alex Cox, Pawlowski's uncle, who's now dead.
And she has this family relationship to Alex, so it seems reasonable to at least investigate whether or not Melanie had some role.
Watch how she does like her Aunt Lori and looks at the camera, acknowledges
she has this family relationship to Alex, so it seems reasonable to at least investigate whether or not Melanie had some role in getting Alex Cox, some conspiracy to get him to commit that crime.
The suspect vehicle is a Jeep registered to Charles Vallow, the former husband of Lori Vallow. Alex Cox shot Charles last July, claiming self-defense. Within 5 months after Charles is killed, a lot happens.
The shooting of Charles Vallow, in addition to the drive-by shooting and the shots that were taken at Tammy Daybell and the disappearance of the kids.
Lori Vallow in jail, not telling anyone where her kids JJ and Tylee are. The death of Tammy Daybell, the first wife of Lori's husband Chad, under investigation. Medical examiners determined Alex's death natural. Gilbert's town attorney goes on to say there is sufficient evidence to confirm the individuals related to the defendant and ex-family members of the plaintiff are involved to the ongoing criminal investigations.
Ex-family members. Summer.
Fox 10 did speak to Pawlowski's attorney, Garrett Smith, over the phone. He says they only filed the notice of deposition after Brandon Boudreaux's attorneys listed Detective Pillar as a witness. Smith believes the response by the town attorney confirms his client is not a suspect in any of these criminal investigations. Reporting live, Justin Lum, Fox 10 News.
Interesting, right? Interesting. Thank you, Chris. Thank you so much. All right, let me get out of here. Get back to them damn documents, right? They're not going to read themselves, that's for sure. It just, again, and I'm sitting there thinking, I'm watching Summer just now, Zalima just now, who are there after the fact of, I just, Lori and Chad brainwashed me. Oh my God. I don't know left from right or up from down. And yet here they are. Summer was leading the damn pack, y'all, going into the damn courtroom or courthouse. And it's not a joke. It's not funny. Okay, Summer, with your Edgar text, it's not cute. It's not a good look. You can say whatever it is you need to say or have said about the damn kids. I think that like Summer Cox Shiflett, she's not innocent in this. She's got some culpability here too. Just because it went a little awry, I guess you could say, after the murder of Charles, after the attempt on Brandon's life with the Edgar text and everything, how Edgar wouldn't miss. And this was in reference to Brandon Boudreaux. Edgar wouldn't miss and he would not leave witnesses. And he would make it look like a damn accident. Okay? I don't think so. Like, that's, what the hell is their problem? What's your problem, Summer? What's your problem, Melanie? I don't understand. I'm not going to sit here and be an apologist for that. I'm not. And now the heart-wrenching phone call between Summer and her sister Lori that everybody heard, that everybody got fooled by. A lot of people are just like, oh my God, she didn't know. And I'm just like, bullshit. She just, it went maybe a little further than she'd liked it to. But she was all about participating in this mob-like behavior. She was all about saying, oh, he wouldn't miss and he wouldn't leave witnesses. You want me to go kill him myself in reference to my uncle? She's okay with these people dying, but she wasn't okay really with Tylee and JJ dying. That's my thought. That's where I'm at right now. So again, you can't play Chad Daybell. You can't play Lori Vallow. And rate people light and dark, who lives, who dies, okay? You're just as bad. So, I mean, to me, it's a lot of self-inflicted pain, you know, so whatever. That's just, if anybody wanted to know how I felt about that. Okay, now you know. Anyways, it just bothers me. And it's like ever since the trials have been adjudicated in Idaho, it's cleared the way for me to really focus all of my energy, all my attention on my Uncle Charles and Brandon. Like, it's like it cleared the way, and it's not all, I'm not trying to tie in so many different things and you know, make it make sense to me, fill in the puzzle pieces in my head even, you know? So, yeah, Lori, yes, totally, totally, totally. I agree with that. I do. Um, it's just it's like a convenience in a lot of sense. It's like convenience. Again, I don't think Summer was, um, you know, oh, hoorah for the kids. I mean, hell, she might have been. I really don't know this person. Um, I know, just like Lori, they project the image that they want you to think about them. You know, they're like, "Oh, no, I'm perfect." You know? "Not me, that was my sister. That was my aunt. No, no, no. Mm-mm. I did not." You know, Melanie Pawlowski with Chad rating her kids freaking dark. Let me go pull that clip real quick because I did upload that video to my channel. Let me find it right quick because it's very telling. Okay, here we go. Make sure I'm on here. Make sure. Yeah, okay. Okay, right here.
Why did you include this series of communications between Lori Vallow and Melanie Boudreaux?
I included this for context purposes because it is a similar conversation relating to Brandon Boudreaux with references for could he go similar to what we've seen in other communications.
Brandon.
Line 663 from Lori Vallow to Melanie Boudreaux. Yeah, but until that agreement is signed by the judge, it is all subject to change. That's probably the reason for the delay. Line 662 from Melanie Boudreaux to Lori Vallow. Is there a possibility he could go before I move? Line 661 from Lori Vallow to Melanie Boudreaux. There's always that possibility. We will work on it. Just have faith and do whatever the Lord tells you. He is always right. Line 655 from Melanie Boudreaux to Lori Vallow. I don't recall the words to get him out, but should we try? Line 654 from Lori Vallow to Melanie Boudreaux. I know them. I'll work on it now. Put all your energy in. Line 647 from Melanie Boudreaux to Lori Vallow. I've worked on them all day and evening. Line 646 from Lori Vallow to Melanie Boudreaux. Me too. He's got to be ready to go. Line 645 from Melanie Boudreaux to Lori Vallow. I know.
Is there anything else you want to review with the jury on why you included the text communication between Melanie Boudreaux and Lori Vallow from October 14, 2019?
No.
That was it. I was like, so he said this, you know, Detective Hart said all of these things just now, that whole string of texts, that back and forth, that conversation between Lori and her niece, Melanie. And he is Brandon. So they're talking about Brandon. And Melanie's sitting there saying, is there a chance that he could go before I move up to Rexburg? Basically, she didn't say Rexburg, but move up there. And Melanie, oh, whoa, that was weird. Melanie Pawlowski did not move to Rexburg until 10/31/2019. So to me, and then where was this part? There was this one part, and I was like, oh my God, I don't know.
I included this for context purposes because it is a similar conversation relating to Brandon Boudreaux with references for could he go similar to what we've seen in other communications. Line 663 from Lori Vallow to Melanie Boudreaux. Yeah, but until that agreement is signed by the judge, it is all subject to change. That's probably the reason for the delay. Line 662 from Melanie Boudreaux to Lori Vallow. Is there a possibility he could go before I move? Line 661 from Lori Vallow to Melanie Boudreaux. There's always that possibility. We will work on it.
Oh no.
Hey, y'all. Can y'all hear me now? Grace will be right back. She must have got bumped out of the queue, and she'll be back. So here she is. There she goes.
I hit all the damn. I hit leave all, close all tabs. As soon as I hit it, I was
Uh-oh.
like, no. So
I
everything
wondered what
had
that was
open.
about.
Oh my God. No, that's just me and my click happy butt here. And then I kept on clicking things off, and I was like, no. All right, I gotta pull all that shit back up.
All right, pull me back up.
Yeah. Saying thank you. Let's see. Oh my God, y'all, I feel like a dork, a big dork. And it's slow, you know. Ah. Okay. Here we, oh no, wrong one. See, I'm click happy. I did click the right one. Let's see. Let me go back down there. And then I'll share my screen again. We'll get back to reading this. I forgot what I was damn talking about because it was something to do with Detective Hart. But the whole point of it, I'm gonna just say this. The whole point of Detective Hart bringing that entire text string into Lori Vallow's trial was just for context, you know, and I'm like, that's very damning context there for Melanie Pawlowski and Lori, you know, because Lori is she's charged. She's the only one charged in this right now. It's crazy. Anyways, let me it's just me and this damn clicker thing. I got a hair in there. All right. You heard the oh no? That's funny. Right. It is what it is. I mess up on a daily basis, and I'm not afraid to laugh at myself. I do it a lot. Just saying. Good. I'm glad y'all are here. I'm glad y'all put up with my antics, you know. I'm full of them. Okay. All right. Oh, yeah. Forgot about this. But y'all know how in a lot of the I want to say Netflix, Sins of Our Mother, and a couple other a couple other YouTube creators even. But this is Colby's dad. Not that other one with Adam and Lori holding a baby, you know. That's not I don't even remember. I don't have that picture pulled up of the one that gets passed off as Colby's dad. When it's really Adam, it's her brother. This is Will LaGoya. This is Colby's dad. So I just wanted to share that. I saw it earlier and I was like, oh yeah. Anyways, back to this. And they look alike too. Big time. I think, you know, Colby looks just like his dad, in my opinion. But all right, back. Okay. So, all right. I'm just going to go backwards. Okay. So this is post attempted homicide. It states on 10/3/2019 at approximately 04:28. Did I read this already? Yeah, I did. We'll go to the second paragraph. No, we didn't read the first one because I don't remember seeing that. On 10/3/2019 at approximately 04:28 Mountain Standard Time, the Jeep Wrangler with Texas plate, there's the plate numbers, was blank driving northbound on US Highway 20 near Rexburg, Idaho. I would say Alex Cox, but that looks very long for it to just say Alex Cox. Between approximately 14:11 hours and 14:14 hours Mountain Standard Time, or Mountain Daylight Time, I'm sorry, Alex and Lori were captured by surveillance cameras at the Self-Storage Plus. Did I? Alex and Lori removed a single vehicle wheel with tire and what appeared to be a back seat from Lori's storage unit. Okay. On 10/3/2019 at approximately 10:30 hours, Melanie Boudreaux was interviewed and she denied knowledge of the shooting. She was unable to explain the details of her day on 10/2/2019. Melanie confirmed her relationship with Lori and Alex, but denied they were close. That's not what we just heard from Melanie about. Alex was her best friend. Okay. Melanie did not want to share their phone numbers. Sounds like her Uncle Chad. Her Uncle Chad dad. Because she believed their phones could be tracked and listened to. Oh, you have no idea, honey. In the weeks to follow, additional homicides were discovered. Melanie's close relationship with Alex, Lori, and Chad was confirmed, and she moved to their same apartment complex in Rexburg, Idaho. Just saying. Melanie married Ian Pawlowski, Alex married Zelima Pastenes, and Chad married Lori. In the months to follow, Chad's deceased wife, Tammy Daybell's body was exhumed. Alex died from natural causes. Lori and Chad were arrested, and the remains of, I'll say the kids, were recovered. With regard to the Jeep Wrangler, biological evidence confirmed Alex was in the vehicle, and positive GSR, gunshot residue, evidence was found around the back window, indicating a firearm was discharged from the vehicle's rear. All right. And so we already read this other part. Oh, wait. Okay. Okay. This is the final supplement for the summary of the attempted homicide of Brandon Boudreaux. Supplement will document the crime charges for the offenders and corresponding evidence. Oh, yeah. So this is like just additional information added. This was on 11/11/2021, and they classified victim Boudreaux, Brandon Carlson Boudreaux. Okay, he was 34 at the time. Just saying. And then his dad's name is Carlson. Okay, I could have swore there was one for Melanie. Okay, oh my God, very clicky. I'm sorry, y'all. Probably making y'all dizzy. All right. Let's see. Yeah. Attempted homicide on 10/2/2019. And it says the below information occurred on the same date before, during, and after the attempted homicide. So this is what happened before, during, and after. On 10/2/2019, between 7:00 in the morning, 7:17 in the morning, and 7:18 in the morning, Mountain Standard Time, Alex's Gmail account again. So again, searched for blah, blah, blah. Then searched for directions from his current location. What a dumbass. Just say. At that time, Alex's blank location was near the LDS Temple, 3301 South Greenfield Road in Gilbert, Arizona, approximately 2 miles west of Brandon's address. At 7:19, Alex's blank traveled to Brandon's address and remained there until 09:17 hours, approximately 118 minutes. During that time frame, Alex's throwaway phone communicated with Chad's throwaway phone multiple times. Again. Additionally, eyewitness accounts confirmed a dark-colored Jeep Wrangler with a Texas license plate, dark tinted windows, and no wheel affixed to the back was parked idling on the wrong side of the street immediately west of Brandon's address. According to his statement, Brandon Boudreaux left his residence with his 4 children at approximately 7:25. Brandon returned home at approximately 9:14 hours when he witnessed the Jeep parked near his residence. The back window of the Jeep opened up, and Brandon witnessed the muzzle of a firearm pointed towards his vehicle, and a gunshot was fired. The projectile hit the front driver's side door frame of Brandon's vehicle. Brandon drove away, and the Jeep followed him briefly before turning away, southbound, out of the neighborhood. If I wasn't so horrible with maps, we would do that, but I am. So from 9:19 hours through 9:25 hours, Mountain Standard Time, Alex's blank traveled southbound away from Brandon's address and made 2 calls to Chad's throwaway phone. At 13:22 hours, Alex's blank traveled northbound through the Apache Reservation in eastern Arizona and received a call from Chad's throwaway phone. At 19:53 hours and 20:12 hours, Mountain Daylight Time, I guess, Alex and Chad's throwaway phones communicated as Alex's what? Hold on. Alex and Chad's throwaway phones communicated as Alex's throwaway phone continued northbound into Utah. That was weird. At 20:42 hours, Alex and Chad's throwaway phones communicated for a final time near Green River, Utah. I mean, that's a lot of chatting, huh? At 09:02 hours, which is 8:02 Mountain Standard Time, Alex's personal cell phone called and text messaged. Oh my God. Alex's personal cell phone called and text messaged Lori's personal cell phone, blank, multiple times to include a 23-minute call. Redacted. This correspondence occurred during the time frame Alex's whatever was at Brandon's address. Oh my God. That's a biggie right there. Just saying. While he was about to shoot Brandon, waiting on Brandon to return at 8:02 hours, Alex's personal cell phone. So Alex called and text messaged Lori's personal cell phone multiple times, and it included a 23-minute call between the two, allegedly. This correspondence occurred during the time frame Alex's blank was at Brandon's address. That's nuts. That's nuts. Okay. Between approximately 13:25 and 13:32 hours, Lori and Chad, okay, were captured by surveillance cameras at the Self-Storage Plus. Okay, Chad and Lori brought a single vehicle wheel with tire, then stored it in the storage unit Lori rented approximately 24 hours prior. Between 20:46 hours and 20:53 hours, Lori's Gmail account searched the internet for, quote, man shot in Gilbert, Arizona, unquote. Y'all, this is something Chad did. Well, after my uncle was murdered, he Googled this shit. Quote, man shot in Gilbert, Arizona, 10/2/2019. And they meant to put ABC, but they put AVC News Brandon Boudreaux. Spelt it wrong too. That's nuts. I'm just saying, when you read it, it's so cringy. And you're like, how in the hell how is she still like how are more people not behind bars? I'm just saying. I'm telling you, I'll say it till I'm blue in the face. I've had more traffic stops that I was involved in, being pulled over by the police that were more stressful than than them, talking to investigators and or not. They're just the way they are treated. It's so nice, Anyway, so this is 48 hours prior to the shooting at Brandon Boudreaux. So this is on September 30th, 2019 at approximately 17:14 hours. Lori's Gmail account blank searched blank. I wish I knew what that said. On 9:30, September 30th, it's my brother's birthday, actually. Alex's cell phone blank was at Lori's apartment blank between 11:31 and 13:16 hours. Alex's blank returned to his apartment 107 between we don't know because Alex's apartment was technically Lori's. He was 175. Her name was on 107. That's why she came up with her alibi. Because it's all technicalities. At 18:01. Okay, whoa. What am I doing? Okay, let me find my spot again. Okay, so Alex's blank returned to his apartment blank between 13:17 hours and 16:32 hours. Okay, Alex's blank returned to Lori's apartment blank at 18:01 hours and remained there or with Lori's blank until 10:03. So he left one of his phones, one of his devices there, I would say. Alex's blank returned to Lori's apartment. I'm sorry, I'm just trying to process it. At 18:01 hours and remained there with Lori's whatever until 10:03. So I mean, good Lord, 9:30 to 10:03. Additionally, Alex blank, oh, gross, at 12:34 hours. In summary, Alex's cell phone previously had blankety blank, blank, blank. I don't know. On 9/30/2019 at 20:10 hours, Charles Vallow's Jeep Wrangler. I think they're because I don't know. There's something to do with it being in Charles's name. Because and it's just something I pick up on. It may be nothing. It may just be me just kind of, when I'm reading the room of these things being said, by my parents and or well, basically, I'm just trying to I don't really pry. I'm not like, why are y'all saying it like that? Or why is it being accentuated? Or because it was Tylee's Jeep, but technically it was in my uncle's name. I don't know if that's part of like the conspiracy, I don't know if that's going to tie them in, because when you look at the Gilbert documents like we're doing now, there's a part in the documents that really accentuate this one part, I guess, and it's about the Brandon's Samsung Galaxy Note 8 that he had given to his son in the summer months or whatever. This is prior to him being shot at, and this could have given location as well for Melanie. Even though Brandon, anyways. So after he got shot at, Brandon was looking through the Samsung Galaxy Note 8, and he noticed that there were somebody had went into his phone and blocked my Uncle Charles's number, and somebody named Chase Anderson as well, whoever that is. Anderson's an interesting last name. It's related to Tim Ballard, so there's that. But it's just the way it's worded. It sounds like, ruh-roh girl, you're all up in this conspiracy, because Charles was reaching out to Brandon to get help, like, hey, he was sounding the alarms. And then there's stuff happening to Brandon by Melanie, and there's stuff happening to Charles by Lori. So again, but the way it's worded, it just really spells out like, oh God, like basically the investigator he made it sound like, at least to me, that, Melanie is the reason that Charles's phone number was blocked. And so then Brandon's like, okay, that makes sense, because I didn't even know Charles was calling me, but Melanie intercepted that. It just, to me, it doesn't look good for Melanie at all by that happening either. So I don't know if the Jeep has, the fact that it's in Charles's name, if there's just something around it. I don't know what it is. So again, whatever. Okay. So on 9/30/2019 at 20:10 hours, Charles Vallow's Jeep Wrangler, driving southbound on Interstate 15 near Blackfoot, Idaho, city south of Rexburg, Idaho. And it says, with an asterisk, approximately 37 hours prior to the attempted homicide of Brandon Boudreaux. Okay. I want to know whose house he stayed at on 10/1. On 10/1/2019 at 6:52 hours, the Jeep Wrangler was blank, I guess, located westbound on Interstate 40 near Hallbrook, Arizona. And redacted at 9:19 hours, Alex's throwaway phone called Chad's throwaway phone while located near Hallbrook, Arizona. At 11:55 hours, Alex's throwaway phone received a call from Chad's throwaway phone while located northeast of Phoenix metro area. That's approximately 21 hours before the attempt on Brandon Boudreaux. Okay. Ugh. And then it says on 10/1/2019 at approximately 14:08 hours, there's some busy little devils. Lori rented a storage unit at Self Storage Plus. Uh, and it says Airport Road, Rexburg, Idaho. Surveillance footage showed Lori was alone and Alex was not with her. So that means, he wasn't there in Rexburg. So they're just corroborating, I guess, that Alex is the one who drove and, he took the trip down there in the Jeep. Okay. Additionally, blank throughout the day, I would say talk to, huh? Including at the quote, Rexburg Temple of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, unquote, despite Alex not having a temple recommend. Holy shit. Hold on. Am I reading that wrong? It says, hold on, I'm kind of reading y'all's comments too. And this is after the children are gone and they're still, yes, but yet Melanie Pawlowski is like, oh, I just believe Lori that, Tylee was with her friends and at BYU without her vehicle, I guess, because it's right there. It would be interesting to know if Alex Cox spent the night with his niece like he did with his sister. Just saying. Yeah. It really surprises me that they didn't record their crimes so they could relive their religious acts, like Ruby Frankie. Just saying. Yikes. But I just want to make sure that I'm comprehending this part right, where it says about the temple. Where is it? Oh, at the very top. Okay. Surveillance footage showed Lori was alone and Alex was not with her. Additionally, blank throughout the day, including at the Rexburg Temple. Oh, the Rexburg Temple. What the hell? Okay, so I did take that out of context. The Rexburg Temple of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, despite Alex not having a temple recommend or being a member because he was excommunicated because he's nasty. What the hell was he doing? I mean, that could be Lori and Chad throughout the day, including at the Rexburg Temple. I don't know. But it says Alex not having a temple record. What the hell? That bothers me. I should have never read that. But this is Rexburg, and he is in, right? On 10-1. Okay, I'm trying to get the hours right, too. At 19:52, 37 hours. Alex's Gmail account, blank. Oh, that's the next one. I'm going to go back one and kind of get the context for that again. Because the Jeep Wrangler was westbound on Interstate 40. That's Alex, near Hallbrook, Arizona. But they're saying on 10/1/2019, same day, at 14:08 hours, Lori rented that storage unit on Airport Road in Rexburg, and it says surveillance footage showed Lori was alone and Alex was not with her. Additionally, redacted throughout the day, including at the Rexburg Temple of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. That's in quotes. Despite Alex not having a temple recommend. What? What the heck? I want to know. On 10/1/2019, between 1931 hours and 1948, Alex's throwaway phone communicated with Chad's throwaway phone. Alex's throwaway phone, redacted, redacted, searched for, redacted, Brandon Boudreaux's new rental address. The address that Melanie and few others knew. In asterisk, it says approximately 13 hours prior to the attempted homicide of Brandon. Okay, so I'm going to go back another one. Let's see. That was 48 hours prior. It's just, kind of leading us up to that crime. Days prior, during the morning of redacted, was witnessed alive at Lori's apartment by Melanie Gibb. Okay. JJ, I guess? Joshua Vallow? I don't know. This was the last known person to witness Joshua, I guess, alive. Later that morning between 09:55 hours and 10:12 hours, Alex's phone data showed him at Chad Daybell's property. This date is suspected to be when Alex blank. Lori disenrolled JJ from school the following day, 9/24/2019. That's nuts. I mean, when you really, it's not nuts because they did it and I know that, but when you, again, it's different when this crosses my lips, and I'm just like, God, speaking it, on 9/25/2019. So we know Melanie went up there on 9/26, so the next day. Oh, it says it right there. On 9/25/2019, Alex was confirmed to be in possession of Charles's Jeep Wrangler in Rexburg, Idaho. Alex took the Jeep to, quote, Dan's window tinting. Okay, which is 2551 West, 6800 South. I hate their road names. Anyways, and had the front windows tinted to 20% and rear windows tinted to 5%. The percentage level relates to the amount of light that passes through the window tinting. My ex-husband, y'all, he was my high school sweetheart, and he had the low riders and all the stupid shit. Okay. All that stupid shit. And I remember he would get his front windshield tinted, and like if I drove it, it would put like a rainbow halo kind of around headlights, and I hated it. But he did that because like the cops or whatever couldn't test. They didn't have a way to test the front windshield. And I'm just like, okay, it just didn't make sense. Anyways, okay. Okay, it says on 9/26/2019, Melanie flew from Mesa, Arizona to Idaho Falls, Idaho. I wonder if they have her on, surveillance. Allegiant Airlines Flight 607 departed at 12:31 hours Mountain Standard Time and arrived at 15:25 hours. On the same date, Alex activated his throwaway phone, blank, in Rexburg, Idaho. The phone number also utilized Alex's Gmail account because they are so flippin' smart. On 9/28/2019, Alex went to the Unified Sportsman's Gun Club. Alex signed the gun club's log and was confirmed to be shooting on the range. On 9/29, Melanie flew from Idaho Falls, Idaho to Mesa, Arizona. So she went back home, departed at 16:10 hours, and arrived at 17:03 hours. Very short flight. Alex's blank was near the Idaho Falls airport at approximately 15:05 hours. What? She departed at 16:10 hours. I guess he dropped her off at the airport. Alex's whatever was near the Idaho Falls airport at approximately 15:05 hours. Okay. So just saying. All right, we already did the 48 hours. Let's do weeks prior. In early August 2019, Alex and Lori rented apartments at the same complex in Rexburg, Idaho, 565 Pioneer Road. Alex rented apartment blank and Lori rented apartment blank. Asterisk right here, it says FBI agents and agents blank reviewed. Okay, I thought I heard something. Reviewed data related to Lori's phone numbers at the time blank. Lori's Gmail account data blank. Alex's personal cell phone at the time blank. His throwaway phone at the time blank. And his Gmail account data blank. And Chad's throwaway phone at the time blank. The following information was discovered and will be referenced with the other evidence gathered. All times will be in Mountain Standard Time, Arizona, or Mountain Daylight Time, Idaho. Okay, so that's what that means. And on 9/9, so September 9th. This is Tylee. On 9/9/2019, Alex went to Lori's apartment from 2 in the morning, 2 out at 2 a.m., 2:42 a.m. to 3:37 a.m. This was the only incident after midnight that Alex's phone data showed at Lori's apartment. Alex's phone data showed him on Chad Daybell's property between 9:21 hours and 11:39 hours that same morning, and it's a long redaction. On 9/17/2019, Melanie text message Brandon and asked for the address for his new residence. Brandon provided it to Melanie. Redaction. In a future interview, Brandon confirmed Melanie was one of approximately 4 people who knew his new address. On 9/23/2019, Brandon's lease began at his new address in the town of Gilbert. Wow. Conspiracy. Much. Yeah. Okay, and this is the years prior, and then it was months prior. Okay, so I'll go the year first, then the month. Attempted homicide summary. Years prior. On 10/30/2018, Chad Daybell emailed his future wife, Lori Vallow Daybell, with a document regarding the Church of the Firstborn. The document shared numerical blankety blank. We know that's a rating system, as they related to Lori's family. Of those rated, Melanie Boudreaux was blank, and her husband, Brandon Boudreaux, was, that's the ratings, okay. So she was a light. Melanie Boudreaux was a light, and I want to say she was a 4.2 light, maybe. And her husband, Brandon Boudreaux, was blank. Lori and Melanie began spending more time together around this time frame. Months prior, in June of 2019, Melanie Boudreaux and Brandon Boudreaux decided to file for divorce after Melanie made multiple accusations about Brandon's personal and professional life. Brandon talked intermittently with Melanie's uncle. Okay, Charles Vallow, that's my uncle. I'll beat her ass. Anyways, Charles Vallow, and was warned that Melanie was spending a lot of time with Charles's wife, Melanie's aunt, Lori Vallow Daybell. Charles believed Lori was manipulating Melanie, which led Melanie to want to divorce from Brandon. Despite attempts to reconcile, Brandon and Melanie began their divorce proceedings on July 8th, 2019. Damn. Melanie remained the sole beneficiary on Brandon's blank life insurance policy and continued to pay for it despite their divorce. He asked multiple times too. On 7/11/2019, Alex Cox, Lori's brother, shot and killed Charles in Chandler, Arizona. Present at the homicide were Alex, Lori, and Lori's children. That would be Tyler and JJ. Additionally, Charles's gray-colored 2-door Jeep Wrangler with Texas license plate, LW, whatever, was parked in the garage. Tylee drove that Jeep to Perry High School until she was disenrolled in August of 2019. On 7/13/2019, Lori text messaged Chad Daybell and asked him to clear Melanie's house of bad spirits. Chad replied that he was working on it, but had to break down the bad spirits Brandon created. On that same date, Brandon moved his personal belongings out of his shared house with Melanie. They agreed to maintain 50-50 custody of their 4 children throughout the divorce process. On 7/18/2019, Lori text messaged Chad regarding Charles changing his life insurance beneficiary to his sister Kay Woodcock prior to his death. Lori ended the text message to Chad with, quote, "I love you. This is terrible." I thought that was Chad that said that this whole time. Lori ended the text message to Chad with, quote, "I love you. This is terrible, but is probably another step in bringing down the Gadiantons, especially Brandon," unquote. A Gadianton is defined as a member of a secret criminal organization in ancient America. That's quoted, according to the Book of Mormon. And again, this was said by Lori. This was, said in reference by Chad too. And that's what Melanie Gibb called this, a secret society, a secret combination. Okay. I was reading a document the other day, and it was to do with Bishop Glenn L. Pace. He's the one that conducted a bunch of, I want to say like 60 interviews with people from the church who were claiming to have been involved in or victimized by SRA, satanic ritual abuse. Okay. And I'll have to do a live stream and we'll go over the Glenn Pace memo. But I mean, it was right during the satanic panic time. And after Glenn Pace, the bishop who conducted all those interviews with those alleged victims, he reported it to his higher ups. He reported it to the hierarchy, I guess you could say. And you know what they did to him? They sent him on a mission in another country. They were like, yeah, okay, here you go. Go away now. I'm just like, well, that's a pattern that, I see happening in many, many cases over and over and over again. So that's interesting. But whenever I was reading this document, I want to say it was from Sandra and Gerald Tanner's website. I think that's where I read this little blurb. And the blurb said that whenever a Latter-day Saint hears or reads that it's a secret combination, they know that that's Satanism. And I'm like, what? Okay. It's just one of them damn phrases. I already suspected that. But just to see that, I was like, wow. So whenever Melanie Gibbs said all this stuff, were they like, were Latter-day Saints like, oh yeah, that's just, Satanism. Again, these are big barriers that I don't think should be there, yet they are. Anywho, I definitely know that I definitely believe that this is a secret society, that this is what's going on, and that's why there's so much protection happening. For real. Anyways, it says narrative. The following, and so we already read all that other stuff. So this is basically saying what it all was. Okay. The following is a summary of the attempted homicide committed against Brandon Boudreaux with the facts and evidence as they are known to date. Some of the information was documented in previous supplements and will be organized in chronological order, with the primary focus on the crime committed in the town of Gilbert, Arizona. Other deaths related to this case will be referenced as a result of the combined motives for the homicides. I'm sorry. Uh-oh. What the hell? Well, that was shitty. I wasn't even touching it. I was scratching my ankle. And it freaked out. Moved. The hell? Okay, let me try this again. Anyways, it was like, no, you're reading too good right now. So let's throw it for a loop. This information was shared with the Gilbert Police Department throughout the combined investigations. Additionally, I received and reviewed recorded evidence as well as Detective Hermosillo's review of Melanie Boudreaux Pawlowski's interviews. Melanie's involvement will be summarized below. So we already read all that. Still going backwards. Okay. This is in April of 2021. This is Ryan Pillar saying, I spoke with Rexburg Detective Hermosillo and learned he was tasked with reviewing all of Melanie Boudreaux Pawlowski's interviews and statements gathered since the start of this investigation. Detective Hermosillo's review relates to the charges for the crimes committed in Idaho's jurisdiction. However, much of the intelligence gathered from Melanie applies to the crimes committed in Arizona. That makes a lot of sense now. So, however, much of the intelligence gathered from Melanie applies to Arizona, the crimes in Arizona. Detective Hermosillo agreed to notify me when his review was complete. Then he would forward me his investigative documents. Furthermore, I will gather the digital evidence / recordings of Melanie to further my inquiry for her involvement with Brandon Boudreaux's attempted homicide. For case management purposes, this investigation will be inactive pending Detective Hermosillo's review. Upon receipt of that information, a summary of the criminal charges and offenders will be completed. pending, it says DNR inactive, pending review of Melanie Boudreaux Pawlowski completed by the Rexburg. So, yeah. All right, let's go back. And it says, this is the final supplement for the summary of the combined investigation. Subsequent supplements will document the crimes committed and evidence discovered by detectives during the investigation of the attempted homicide of Brandon Boudreaux. That's a mouthful. All right, I'm going to go here. I know this isn't it, but there was a bigger one. Let me look for it real quick. Yeah, let me look real quick. Melanie Boudreaux Pawlowski. Ooh, I spelled it all wrong. All right, let's see. Let me go say hi or something. How's it going? Y'all holding the fort down? Maybe she's taking Xanax or Valium, right? Her life and Lori did her in too. She's got to be honest to save herself and be the best she can be for her kids, at least. Mel Gibson was a star to these investigators. They were fond of her. Mel Gibson? Of her on the LDS podcast. What? That's me. I'm jumping in at the very end of things. Are you talking about Melanie or Lori? I have a broke brain too. You are, you're with your people. You're with, yeah, I get it. I get it. Totally. All right, let me go back over here. And this face right here, I'm just like, God dang. She looks so vengeful there. She's just like, anyways. Okay. Now let me look. I'll go back to that. Okay. I did this one the other day. I know I've showed y'all this before, but I just put Justice and pointed to the soap. Chad's here, Bubba's here. There's Justice. I'm just saying. Y'all, I'm sorry. Let's see. I'm looking for. There's like a lot written up on, like, from Steve, her dad. I don't know why it pulled up Tim and Sean Reyes and this is funny. I'm just saying. Oh, and I found the Dateline, the one that they scrubbed, and I saw all I could do was because I screen recorded it. NBC has it blocked where it'll just make it a black screen, but you still can listen to it. And I was like, wow, because something's in there, and I think that something's in there that is evidence, and that's why they scrubbed it or privated it. However, NBC has to work around that, but that's pretty big, I think, to have to scrub that. And these are just some clips or whatever. Still not what I'm looking for. Sorry. Oh. Okay. This one right here. Chad. Yes, if they're going to act up, we'll at least give them a reason to scream. Chad Daybell texted Lori Vallow in July of 2019 regarding both Melanie Boudreaux Pawlowski and Lori Daybell's children. And then, in that recorded conversation between Lori, Chad, Melanie that Ian, recorded that we got to hear from Chad's trial. There's this one part, and I was watching, shit. I can never think of all these damn channel names. But I found it really interesting, but I couldn't quite corroborate it just yet. Hold on just one second. Let me get back into remember it kicked me out of everything, so I'm having to go back in. Let's see. Home. Let me go home. And let me type in. Oh, man. I don't remember the name of it. Or I'd tell you, because that was the whole point. I'm going to look for it real quick. Shouldn't be too far back. Should be getting to it real quick or soon. I watch a lot of damn videos. That's what it is. Here she is. Okay. A Mormon explains Chad's beliefs are off the rails. And I mean, I know a lot of you know who this is. It's True Crime, Faith, and Chocolate. And there was something on there. I'm trying to remember what it was. Was it here? Maybe it was this one. Let me grab the transcript real quick so I can be a little more precise in my search. Okay, Control F and Melanie. God dang, 59 times. Let's see, let me share it so you'll know what I'm doing at least. Oh my God. Okay. 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 Let me just go from here.
Gross. After Daniels testified, we had Melani Pawlowski. She is the second Melanie in the case, the first one being Melanie Gibb.
I'm putting her link in the chat.
Which they're talking about if someone's spelling it correctly, because the niece Melanie has no E at the end of her name. She goes by Melanie Pawlowski or Melanie
I call her Murder Mel now.
Her maiden name before either of her first two marriages was Melanie Cox. She is Lori's niece. Her mother died, as I've mentioned before. Her mother died when she was very young. Her mother, Stacy, is Lori's sister. She died rather young from complications to diabetes and some other things. There are some signs that there could be some questionable circumstances around her death. Essentially, Stacy dies. Melanie is her daughter. She's very young. I don't know if Melanie even has memories of her mother because she was so young.
She was
Lori
9.
became a mother figure to her. And when Lori, if you've watched my last video, you know Lori sometimes would say she had 7 children. And that was referring to 7 children she and Chad had supposedly had in past life.
7 children. I think this is 7 gatherers. This is 7, the group, that's listed in the documents, Chandler documents. Okay. But I'm trying to get to, because she's a Latter-day Saint, she gets this context, and I was like, oh my God, if so, Brandon needs to be alerted that this was said. And, I don't know to what degree he listens to these things, the trial testimony, I have no idea. So, I'm looking for this one part. That's Melanie Gibb. Melanie Pawlowski. She don't think they perjured themselves.
Like, I don't know what you're talking about, dude. So, a little hint, we actually find out.
Oh.
I believe on day 18 when Zulema testified. We'll get to that. I will say people were like, oh my gosh, Melanie Pawlowski and Melanie Gibb totally perjured themselves. I don't think so. I don't think they did.
I
Even
think,
though Dilemma said that they were part of
if she didn't, then it's because they omit the things, you know? They're omitting the things. Let's see.
husband. It's a second marriage for them both. On their honeymoon, Melanie starts telling them some creepy things, and Ian's like, this does not sound like a good thing. And Melanie's like, you can't tell anyone my name, my whole name. Don't tell anybody, because they're trying to kill me and this and that. And Ian's ex-wife Natalie, it sounds like they had not had contact since the divorce. It was an ugly divorce with them too, but Natalie reached out and said, I need to know this woman you just suddenly met and married very quickly. What is her name? I need to look her up. So Ian caved and said her name is Melanie Boudreaux. So his ex-wife Natalie looks her up and flips out, recognizing this is the niece of Lori Vallow, whose children are missing. Finds out that her ex Brandon was shot at in an attempted murder. Charles is dead. All of these crazy things. And of course, she's like, ex-husband, dude, you just married into the psycho family. Our children could be at risk. This is scary. And he's like, oh, you're right. And there was a moment on their honeymoon and one of his daughters was briefly missing. She was just playing like hide and seek, but the moment freaked him out so bad. He's like, okay, I've got to go talk to the cops. So he wrote this long statement. Nate Eaton read a good chunk of it on his broadcast.
I found it. Oh shit, it just reset. God dang it. It's not my day today. I swear. Let's see. Oh my gosh. I just took all that time to kind of, it should be right around here. Right here. It's about sealing. Right here. And I mean, again, I have to go and corroborate it.
Idaho without her kids, or it sounds like she wasn't at that point trying to get custody. I don't know. It's just messed up. So Melanie says she can't wait to be sealed to Ian, and to have Breezy and Braxton sealed to them as well.
Weren't they dark? Wasn't Breezy and I mean all four of the children, but the fact that she's saying, Melanie said that Breezy and Braxton's a little boy that was really like best friend cousins, you know, with JJ. And I mean, I was thinking it was two girls for some reason. I don't know why. It's like Melanie and Brendan had boy, girl, you know. And so again, I get their names really confused, but I'm pretty sure that the two that were deemed dark was Breezy and the baby girl, and Braxton, he'd have been the oldest, the boy, but I don't know.
That's just struck me as a little odd. I was like, well, who are Breezy and Braxton? I thought, well, maybe they're some of Ian's kids. But when you're dealing with divorces and second marriages, who the kids get sealed to, it gets messy. And you watch one of the other videos I've made. I'll try to remember to link to it.
Like basically, if we can figure out what this means in LDS speak and Mormon speak, then if Melanie is saying this about her kids, that could be used in a court of law, you know, and not it could be decoded and translated that way.
Here, talking about some of the terminology and doctrines, especially like sealings, you can't just randomly seal kids to random parents. So I don't know how she thought she could seal two of her daughters to Ian when she had them with Brandon, and they're still sealed to those parents. Even if Melanie and Brandon's sealing is broken, in theory, those children still get blessings having been sealed to parents. And this is one of those things you can try to ask me, but we don't really have answers either. The doctrines haven't been explained to that extent. And honestly, I feel like it doesn't really matter. That God will make it right in the end. But it is weird for her to say that. Here's the disturbing part, though. Breezy and Braxton are still alive. They are Melanie Pawlowski's daughters.
kids.
But Chad had said they were dark. So, and when she says that Breezy and Braxton will be with Alex, I think she is thinking
Dead?
because Chad listed her daughters as dark, they will be dying soon because dark people, zombies, have to die. And then once they're on the other side, Alex can take care of them. And that was disturbing as
Yeah,
well.
that's disturbing.
One thing that I wanted to bring up too, this
Oh.
is a very Latter-day Saint thing, but not doctrine per se or whatever. It's very uncommon for Latter-day Saints to be cremated. It's not against the rules, but just culturally, the respect of the body, and if possible, you're buried, and then you're buried in your ceremonial clothing if you've been through the temple for your own.
So that's interesting that Stacy, it turns out she was cremated. It's interesting that Joe Ryan ended up cremated. It's interesting that Alex Cox ended up cremated and Charles cremated. But especially for the Cox family to have both Stacy and Alex cremated. I guess they did. I don't know if Zalima had anything to do with that. I don't know if they talked. I have no idea.
Own endowment. But while cremation is not against beliefs, it is unusual. And so you would think people who are more devout and professing to be extra righteous would not be opting for cremation. And yet Alex and Charles were both cremated.
They did
on
not
family's request, which, especially in the case of Alex, is, to me, that is a red flag, because not only is it culturally an interesting and unusual decision, but I think in the context of Chad and Tammy, and then being exhumed and having an autopsy, and she was killed, let's just make sure that Alex can't be exhumed. I think that I personally believe that
they still buried him with a bag, but of where they can test in future, kind of like what I think they were supposed to do with Joe. But I mean, everything I've seen so far has not said that it's closed, like on Joe. I don't really know how that, like, I don't know. I don't know. They say that they reinvestigated it and then closed it again, but I don't see where it's closed. So I don't know. I just think it's interesting, Yeah, I think so too, Janelle. And it made it, her talking about this, which I'll post that again in the chat. I'll post a link to this video in the chat. So whenever she was saying all this, it kind of brought it up. And I was like, I told Jason, I said, well, maybe that's why Chad didn't have Tammy cremated, because then it really would have sent up alarm bells. I bet you he wish he did. I bet you he wish he had cremated Tammy. He's like, he's not feeling sorry. He's not feeling any kind of remorse, but he's kicking himself in his own ass, I do believe, in his little death penalty cell, for not doing this or that right, whatever got him caught, it seemed. Anyways. And another thing she had brought up, I don't think it's in this video, but another thing she had brought up, True Crime, Faith and Chocolate, that it could be argued that Chad moved, because he moved, like the whole move in 2015 to Rexburg, to Idaho, was maybe he knew that they wouldn't do they don't require an autopsy. So I was like, it is interesting. I mean, couldn't prove that, but it's interesting to be like, well, that's why the voice told him to move, is so that he could kill his wife. I mean, because all he did was send her back to freaking Utah anyway. So what the hell? Weird. Pretty trash, yeah. 2 serial killers in one family is wild, but so is a lot of the whole family's behavior, from Janice's weird sex kitten act. Yeah. To Daddy being a complete nut bar. That, and I mean, being arrested for prostitutes and for soliciting, and for just how they openly would talk about their sex life in front of their kids. And have sex after they got home from church, whatever, whatever, whatever. It is a psychological hornet nest, if we really, I'm going to come back and read all your comments after the stream, Chris. They're so helpful. Oh, yeah, he is big on the Skinwalker Ranch. Oh, yeah. I remember watching that and I was like, oh, hell no. He didn't walk in here, for the cameras, for the documentary of Skinwalker Ranch or whatever that show is. Yeah. Crazy. Crazy, crazy. Yeah, right? Yeah, that is nasty, huh, Kelly J? Oh my God. Yeah. It's Jesus soft porn. I don't even like putting those words together, but it's cringe. It's cringe. Right? Who, whatever. I think we all would, we'd be like, oh my God, and especially as openly as they are said to have talked about it, I've got to do some more digging into the background, especially on Barry. It's, I say on all of them, but I don't know. How he used to be an underwriter for beneficial life insurance, which I mean it's the damn churches. The church owns the damn company. Life insurance. I'm sure they do, especially teaching what they teach. I know. I know. I'm wrong for saying that because it's these people that take it out of context and make it all culty and an offshoot but I'm also like, no, it's just like-minded thinking, Anyways, it's interesting. Oh, sexy Jesus dancing. It's a whole new trend to make religion sexy so that people want to get into it. It's some type of promotion. I've noticed they're doing it very strange. Sexy Jesus dancing, yeah. The test labs came in. Yeah. Yeah. I remember hearing that too. Or, that coming up too. Oh. It's just super cringe, And then people wonder why they're the way they are. Yeah, it's like, well, here's your sign, Let me try not to close all the damn tabs. All right. I was trying to look for Stephen Wallentine or Wallentine Cope. What a freaking name. Anyways, on 3/28/2020, Gilbert Police Sergeant Kruger interviewed Stephen Wallentine Cope, Melanie Boudreaux's father. I wonder how he felt whenever if he watched the trial and found out that Melanie, his daughter, is calling Chad dad, and that Chad gave his blessing, literally, to Ian to marry Melanie, his daughter. It says, Gilbert, okay. Melanie Boudreaux's father. Stephen explained their family history to include his relationship with Melanie. Stephen said everything was fine until spring 2019, when Melanie started, quote, talking religious all the time, unquote. It was not long after that when Melanie asked Brandon for a divorce. Stephen said Melanie was always close with Lori and Alex, but her relationship with them intensified as she became more religious. In December 2019, Melanie cut off all communication with Stephen after he confronted her about the criminal allegations made against Lori and the suspicion that Tylee and JJ were missing. In March of 2020, Melanie wished Stephen a happy birthday, but did not talk with him any further. Okay. On 4/6/2020, Sergeant Kruger interviewed Stephen again with clarifying questions. In response to questions, Stephen described Melanie's mood as becoming, quote, flat in the spring of 2019. Melanie shared her belief in blank and spoke of a, quote, second coming, unquote. Oh my God. That's a dog whistle if I ain't ever heard one. Okay. Second damn coming. Despite Stephen's attempt to reason with Melanie, she refused to disrupt her beliefs or her close relationship with Lori. So even her damn dad couldn't knock it out of her, so to speak. On 4/13/2020, I received the lab report regarding blank, believed to belong to blank, that were tested and compared with the blood stains in the vehicles. The DNA profile from blank matched the, quote, unidentified female, unquote, profile with from the blood stains. I later communicated with the Mesa Police Crime Lab and learned that the origin of the DNA samples from blank and from the bloodstains were not blank. The DNA profile was within blank family lineage and preliminary believed to belong to Lori. That's nasty. I later received the DNA profile for Lori Vallow and forwarded it to the Mesa Police Crime Lab. As a result of crime lab requirements for different jurisdictions, Lori's DNA could only be preliminary confirmed as matching the above items. Furthermore, it was preliminary confirmed that blank DNA did not match the above items. 4/16/2020, April 16, 2020, Special Agent Cooper, so isn't that like FBI? Detective McDermott and I contacted and interviewed Thor Furuseth and Julie Clement. That's spelled wrong. We also attempted to interview Summer Shiflett again, but she did not answer our attempts. Why? You know, I read that the other day and I was like, why? I mean, the kids are missing. I don't care how much you believed in your damn sister. Why would you not? Why would you not cooperate and just talk to the police if you have nothing to hide, Summer? Thor said he knew Chad and Lori from the Preparing a People conference and previous podcast recordings. He estimated the last time he saw them was 2 years ago. That's wrong. Thor paused multiple times throughout our interview and denied having a close relationship with them despite evidence showing otherwise. Overall, Thor discussed his similar religious beliefs compared to Lori and Chad, but he did not present any remarkable investigative information. I want to see that. I bet that's interesting as all get out. This is Julie Clement, was previously interviewed on December 31st, 2019, and identified herself as the spiritual healer for Lori, Chad, and Zelima. Julie refused to provide contact information for Lori and Chad. It's a theme, I swear. During the previous contact, I reintroduced myself to Julie, and she agreed to talk with me. In response to my questions, Julie said the last time she talked with Lori and Chad was in December of 2019. Y'all. Julie said she did not have information for Tylee and JJ's whereabouts or welfare. Julie confirmed she had knowledge of the Church of the Firstborn, secret society, and that it was believed there would be a second coming. Julie told me she was not part of the Church of the Firstborn, but believed she had the ability to see and manipulate energy to help others. They also to hurt others, I would say. I asked Julie about the time she met with Lori, Chad, Melanie, Zelima, Alex, and others in August of 2019. Julie recalled a prayer circle they had when they prayed for blankety blank, 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 right? I asked Julie who blank was. Julie explained blank as a blank, but denied it was a person. Julie was responsive to multiple questions and confirmed the overall belief system for the, quote, Church of the Firstborn, unquote, but denied being a member. Julie said her involvement with the church was focused on energy visions and manipulation. What a sketch-ass woman. Forget the name of her website. Untapped Joy or something, I don't know, something like that. On 4/17/2020, I met with Melanie Gibbs' ex-husband, Brendan Gibb, to discuss their previous marriage and to obtain his knowledge of Lori and Chad. In response to my questions, Brendan said Melanie and he were married in 1994, then divorced in August of 2019. All these women were just divorced, all at the same damn time. Brendan said their relationship deteriorated after she started using an iPhone. I'm just saying, I'm sorry. Well, got the damn iPhone and then my marriage went to shit. I'm just saying. Okay. Sorry. That really, you got me. So she started using, blah, blah, blah. Brendan said their relationship deteriorated after she started using an iPhone and communicating with the members of the Preparing a People group. Melanie then met Lori and their friendship developed. They met through Jason Mal. To answer that question from earlier, if somebody asked if it was Melanie that introduced Lori into all this, but it was Jason Mal. But it's like Lori, this is the vibe I get. And I mean, there's things I've read, the podcast with Jason Mal, Melanie, and Lori. The vibe I get is it's like, maybe, I don't know. This is just the impression I get. Take it for what it's worth. But it's like Lori was wanting to kill Charles. You know, maybe she was having this thought. And you got to know a guy, you know what I'm saying? So it's like somebody pointed her in the direction of Jason Mal, is how it appears to me. And it's like they met in the temple, knowing damn good and well that it's protected there. You know, you're meeting there and you're maybe met Jason Mal to point you in the direction and or take care of basically being a hitman, you know? And to me, that's just how it seems. And then I don't know. It's weird because the whole time that Lori was in Hawaii for that hiatus, also, it's interesting because April Raymond had let mom know. I just didn't share it, but I saw that Lauren did. So I was like, oh, okay, you know, but I just kept that under, you know, under wraps, I guess, because it's irrelevant. But it's interesting to me because it was said by April that the whole time that Lori was in Hawaii, she never mentioned the name Chad. She did, however, never shut up about Jason Mal. So I was like, well, that's weird, you know? If I had to pick out of who I thought Lori was having an affair with, I would pick Jason before I'd pick Chad. I'm just saying. But it's just interesting to me also that April had divorced, her and her husband had divorced, and Lori was kind of dipping in on him, you know, breaking girl code basically, and knowing that April's ex-husband had just won a lawsuit, a multi-million-dollar lawsuit against I want to say a what do you call that? Oh my God. Urgent care, some kind of urgent care center. I don't know. So I was like, you know, it was just interesting to me. And so I would like to know more context on that, if there is any. Another thing, you know, April had reached out to me a couple years ago, and I still need to look it up. I've shared this with you guys before. There's this man, I want to say in Nevada, a Mormon man, who died mysteriously. Like he went on a bike ride and just kind of died. I don't know. But what April, you know, what she told me was something. Oh, I'm not about to. Oh, I almost cussed too. I'm not going to be able to like really, because it's been a while since I've seen it. But something about Chad and Lori investing money in what's the name of it? Oh my God. It's one word, but I can't think of the damn name of it. Investing their money in this nonprofit, I want to say, or something. I just can't remember it's like, oh my God, that's going to kick my ass now. Anyways, and I'm like, okay, well, that would explain where some of the money went. But, and then like, who is this? Like, I would want to know more. I do want to know more about that, because who are these people you're dealing with? Anyways, I'm sorry. I know that didn't really help. It just created more questions, but all right. Okay. Melanie then met Lori and their friendship developed. Melanie increased her time spent with Lori. Then Melanie distanced herself from Brendan. In January 2019, Melanie told Brendan that he had blank in him, and soon after said she wanted a divorce. Can you imagine what Melanie told freaking Brendan? And she can't sit there and blame it on Chad and Lori, because little Miss Melanie is not as innocent as she would like us to believe. Okay. Despite attempts to save their marriage, Brendan conceded and they divorced. Brendan said he only met Chad one time during a church event, but otherwise did not know him. I asked Brendan if he knew blank. Brendan recalled seeing them before, I guess Tyler and JJ before, and referred to blank as a quote, quiet something, and I guess JJ as reasonably hyper blank. Okay. Brendan made it clear that he was not involved with the group. Why is it the group is in quotation marks? So that's interesting, because the group is 7 of these women: Zalema, Lori, Melanie, Christina, Serena. Did I say Zalema yet? Because it's all 7 of them. Anyways, and expressed his frustration that Chad, Lori, and the others involved had ruined many families and innocent people's lives. On 5/2/2020, I learned of Tammy Daybell's autopsy results and that her manner of death would be changed from natural to undetermined. The medical examiners from Utah and Arizona agreed to maintain contact in the event additional tests could be identified to further test the biological samples. Interesting. 5/4/2020. That's Tammy's birthday. Would have been. I met with the FBI after categorizing the evidence gathered and processed thus far by Gilbert police. Copies of all the evidence was turned over for future discovery. June 9, 2020. I learned multiple law enforcement agencies were executing a search warrant on Chad's property as a result of blank. Other digital evidence collected throughout the investigation. Later that day, on the day the kids were found, I learned the remains of 2 human bodies were discovered. Chad was arrested soon after. I spoke with investigators. On 6/10/2020, I spoke with investigators in Idaho and was told the human remains were confirmed to be Tyler and JJ. Additional DNA analysis was requested, but as a result of specific physical findings, the missing children were confirmed deceased. And it says, this is the final supplement for the summary of the combined investigations. Subsequent supplements will document the crimes committed and evidence discovered by detectives during the investigation of the attempted homicide of Brandon Boudreaux. Again, interesting. Okay, whoa. All right. Let me see. I guess I'll go right here and go back down that way, and then I'll kind of go back up like we've been doing. On January 31st, 2020, Brandon forwarded me a recorded conversation with Natalie Pawlowski. All right. Natalie was the ex-wife to Ian Pawlowski. Ian married Brandon's ex-wife / Lori's niece, Melanie, in November of 2019. Natalie told Brandon that she talked with Ian, and Ian said Melanie told him that she knew the plan for the attempted homicide against Brandon by Alex. Bam. Natalie assured Brandon that Ian and she would contact the police in Rexburg. This occurred on or around December 5th, 2019. Right? And they did. On this is February 4th, 2020, the GSR gunshot residue test results returned from the Phoenix Police Crime Lab. The results tested positive for GSR, from the samples collected on and around the interior back window frame of the Jeep Wrangler that was used during the attempt homicide of Brandon. On 2/11/2020, I met with Melanie Gibb first. Did I already say all this though? No. Okay. I don't think. Okay. I met with Melanie Gibb for a second interview. The interview was to clarify her visit to Rexburg, Idaho in August of 2019. This is just it's interesting how she can recall the details here and in some other things, but not really when it's time, you know. It gets super sketch. I met with Melanie Gibb for, okay, I already said all that. Blah, blah. The interview was to clarify her visit. Okay. Melanie said she flew to Rexburg from Phoenix on 9/20/2019 for a Preparing a People conference. Lori picked her up from the airport and they spent the weekend together. It's the weekend that JJ died. Melanie stayed at Lori's residence and her boyfriend David Warwick joined on 9/21. He came in the day after Melanie. Melanie recalled seeing Alex, Chad, and JJ during her stay. Melanie did not see, I would say, Tylee, right here, redacted, was attending school at BYU per Lori's statements. Melanie went over the details of her staying with me. Melanie? Okay. Of importance, Melanie recalled Lori told her, hold on. Of importance, Melanie recalled Lori told her that JJ was possessed and had become a zombie. Lori pointed out JJ's hyper behavior and said, we had become progressively difficult. Who's we? Okay. Melanie believed JJ's behavior was normal for an, I would say, autistic, whatever, but did not dispute this with Lori. Melanie recalled seeing JJ the final day she was visiting Lori and did not remember anything abnormal. Isn't that interesting? Melanie left with David on 9/23/2019 and they drove back to Utah where David lived. Melanie recalled seeing JJ the final day she was visiting there. That would have been the day she freaking left. Do you see what I'm saying? Melanie left with David on 9/23 and they drove back to Utah where David lived. Anyways. Additional responses from blank. Some of the blank completed thus far was provided to me and confirmed Alex was in Arizona and near Brandon's residence during the attempted homicide, 10/2/2019. Whatever the hell was reported to him on February 16, 2020 is interesting. Additional responses from blank. Some of the blank, I'd say evidence or something completed thus far with me. Okay. 2/20/2020. Lori Vallow was arrested in Kauai, Hawaii with an arrest warrant from Rexburg Police, Madison County, Idaho. She was later extradited to Madison County for her charges. 3/3/2020. I was contacted by the Maricopa County Office of the Medical Examiner and notified that Alex's autopsy report would be released. I spoke with OME Dr. Wallace about the possibility for additional toxicology tests. Dr. Wallace said she communicated with the medical examiner in Salt Lake City, Utah, the doctor who performed the autopsy of Tammy. So those two coroners were talking to each other. Or I'm sorry, doctors. Medical examiners were talking to each other. Interesting. Who performed, okay. At the time of my conversation with Dr. Wallace, no additional tests were viable without a known poison or substance that could have contributed to Alex or Tammy's death. 3/9/2020 DNA analysis was received and confirmed Brandon's daughter, blank, DNA sample matched one of the blood samples collected from the right rear seatbelt of the Nissan Rogue. No other exclusionary samples matched the other blood stains, and the second female sample remained unidentified. All the law enforcement agencies involved with this case met in Salt Lake City. Okay, this was on 3/11 and 3/12/2020. All the law enforcement agencies involved with this case met in Salt Lake City, Utah, to collaborate in person about their respective investigations to strategize the combined investigations moving forward. Now, go up. Okay. Kind of going up here. Let's see. Other persons involved. David Dale Warwick, 58. Clifford Brendan Gibb, 51, right? Thor Michael Furaseth, 48. Let me go up. Hold on. I'm gonna go. Let's see. This one says it's a supplement. I'm just gonna say their ages, I guess. Supplemental information. This is additional information added on April 5th, 2021. And it says Neil Mestis or whatever. That's the dog trainer. Okay. Summer Novell. I have a theory also. Shiflet, 44. So in 2021, she was 44. And then Janice Lee Cox, 72. Just saying. Ian Robert Pawlowski, 32. Natalie Marie Pawlowski. She was young. Okay. Let me keep going. Let's see. I think there was a couple of things on here after that. Let me read right here. All right. Let's see. The following supplement is a summary of the investigation completed by the Gilbert Police Department from 1/1/2020. Okay. Through June 10th, 2020. Multiple detectives assisted with interviews, evidence collection, and other tasks throughout the duration of this investigation. Some of that involvement will be referred to and can be reviewed in full within previous supplements. So they just, it's like sprinkled. I'll never understand like how they go about this and how to really read a FOIA document, you know, or a criminal one. This supplement will begin on January 1st, which is Melanie Gibbs' birthday, by the way, and conclude on June 10, 2020. Continued collaboration between multiple agencies led to the discovery of blank. Anyways, between January and June of 2020, Gilbert police assisted with interviews, search warrants, and evidence processing. Gilbert police involvement decreased as the primary focus of the combined investigation led to Idaho. At the conclusion of the summary, additional supplements will follow with emphasis on the crimes committed in Gilbert against Brandon Boudreaux. Gilbert police investigation continued. The following summary will be separated by dates of importance as it relates to what was learned and tasks completed by Gilbert police detectives between January 1st, 2020 and June 10th, 2020. Let me read these few. The following summary, I'm sorry, I already said that. Right, yeah. I think, yeah. Okay, January 2nd, 2020, a search warrant was executed on Alex Cox's truck and blank, then taken for analysis by DPS Detective Olzak. Later that day, a telephonic meeting was had between the multiple law enforcement agencies to discuss the investigation and pending tasks. Additionally, responses from search warrants returned and were forwarded to blank for review. Okay. On January 8, 2020, a collaboration meeting was had via phone to discuss the investigation of Joseph Ryan. Joseph was one of Lori's ex-husbands and father of Tylee Ryan. Phoenix police was contacted and a cold case detective was requested to review and follow up with Joseph's 2018 death. January 9, 2020, blank was reviewed and it was discovered that Alex, Lori, Tylee, and JJ were confirmed to be at Yellowstone National Park on 9/8/2019. This date was significant because it was one of the last days both children, or both Tylee and JJ, were known to be alive. And on January 14, 2020, a collaboration meeting was had to discuss the timeline of events known so far as it compared to blank. It was learned Lori, Alex, and Chad blank during the investigation timeline. As they conspired to kill Brandon. I don't know. Tasked to write more search warrants were divided amongst detectives. During the call, I requested clothing items that were collected from the Rexburg Police Department search warrant on 11/27/2019. That would be at the apartment. Believed to belong to blank, be sent to compare DNA with the bloodstains found in the Nissan Rogue and Ford F-150. Additionally, I requested assistance to obtain buccal swabs from Brandon Boudreaux and his 4 children who were all in Utah. 1/16/2020 DNA results from the blood samples collected from the Nissan Rogue and Ford F-150 were received, and it was confirmed the blood came from 2 unidentified females. Exclusionary samples were needed for comparison. That is so weird. January 22nd, 2020, the results from from Alex's Ford F-150. I think that would be the Rogue, huh? Or the Jeep. From Alex's Ford F-150 were completed. It was confirmed the vehicles blank by Alex, Lori, and Zalema. I would say driven, maybe, or I don't know. Zalema too, though. Blank to Melanie Boudreaux, Zalema, Chad, and Lori between 11/7/2019 and 12/2019. The redacted no viable data was available for dates previous to 12/3/2019. That's interesting. Much of the relevant data for the homicides was overwritten. I wonder if that was like the navigation system or whatever from Tylee's Jeep, you know. On 1/28/2020, lab results were received from the DNA swabs collected from the Jeep Wrangler on 11/18/2019. Okay, they collected them on 11/18. The swabs tested positive for Alex's DNA on the steering wheel. So he was driving, guys. And driver's side seatbelt. You know? That kind of put that to rest for me. You know, how some people, you know, I'm back and forth. I never pictured 2 people driving. I'm just like, no. I mean, you have the seat laying back, adrenaline. I mean, I can see scooting that fast, you know, after taking the shot at Brandon. Because a car seat wouldn't go in there, and unless Melanie would have left her daughter at her house by herself. I don't put anything past her, or had a babysitter. I don't know, because Brandon dropped her off to Melanie. There's a park across the street from Melanie's house that whenever they're getting served to go show up for the grand jury, her and Ian, you know, they actually approach Melanie. She's in the park across the street from her house, walking her dog to, you know, use the bathroom. And the dog and the like cop even like held the dog while she talked to the other policeman. But anyways, but just that part right there, no viable data. I'm sorry, not that. Lab results were received from the DNA swabs collected from the Jeep Wrangler on 11/18/2019. The swabs tested positive for Alex's DNA on the steering wheel. That means he's driving, and driver's side seatbelt. And there's no rear seat in the Jeep because that's in Rexburg at the storage unit. And so there's nowhere to put a car seat unless you're just hanging out on the floor. I just don't think you'd sit there for 118 minutes with y'all heard the little girl in the interview with Melanie. Okay. I mean, she's a little kid. She shouldn't have to be there, you know, but I mean, it was a very hard listen, you know, to that interview. Anyways, January 30th, 2020, Gilbert police received a package with the exclusionary DNA samples for Brandon and his 4 children, blank. I'm sure it names them all. Additionally, clothing items suspected to belong to blank were received. All the items were impounded as evidence, and a lab request was completed to have the DNA compared with the bloodstains from the impounded vehicles. January 31st, 2020, Brandon forwarded me the conversation. Did I already say this earlier? Yes, I did. Hold on just one second. me see what pulls up here. Okay, there's one where they're impounding the truck from Zulema. But hold on, I thought it was like 11 minutes. Let me go to here. Okay. Okay, I thought it would be. I have it on my channel, but Jesus, it's gonna be hard to find. Let me look. Let's see. Okay, let me try here. Come on now. Yeah, we'll go over these evidence photos. Well, not today, but because really, all I have is right as of right now till February is time to go mull over this case. Y'all are gonna be so sick of hearing about it. Okay, so I just don't think it's 5 minutes. But anyways. Anyways, let me get back up there. I don't know, I just keep thinking, I don't want it from the day he died. I want it of them picking up the truck, you know, because it's one that I haven't really gone over it in years, actually. Well, hell. Yeah, because it goes. Well, that's from when he died, though. Oh, well, I don't know. I'm sorry. I'm taking a long time. Let me go back up here. And let me go to this one, I guess. No, it was okay. I don't remember which one. Wow. I'm just, yeah, this isn't when his truck was picked up. I'll play this. I'll keep looking. It's quiet right now. They'll come on. I hope. It's blurred out, so it's not like you can see anything. Can't see what's going on.
If you have
There it
all your
is.
stuff ready to go. You have entitled on deck. So if you come over here, you let me know.
Body cam footage of when Alex Cox died.
Hey, Chief, did I have a suction downstairs? I don't know. Dave, you see the suction unit there? Would you mind bringing? Yeah, I got it. Yeah. I'm gonna go ahead and back up a little bit while we get our stuff on. Yep. Okay, perfect.
Let me do that. No. Yes.
Our detectives are coming out If you guys are not transporting them, just leave them be because we have other stuff to do at the house.
Okay, we always do. We pronounce them here, we keep it as a crime scene, so anything else, drugs, anything else that she's not telling us?
We don't
Drugs.
know. One of our detective sergeants.
Somebody's been working something on him?
Yeah, I have no idea what it is or what's going on. Yeah.
Number 4, you need to ask him the conversation was like good? Yeah. What's your official What round are you guys on? Eddie, so you in CCR or you in the we're out of there now.
God.
Not flatline, it's basically PEA, so she's still showing a rhythm, but it's no pulse associated with it. Okay. He still stays with that little bit of a rhythm of how you transport it. Okay. He'll probably make a phone call if he goes in the system and then we'll pronounce it right. Okay.
Yeah. Whatever you guys need to do.
Ugh. That sounds horrible.
Do you want a boot here or anything? No, I don't know that. I don't know. Okay. Here, let me throw this at you. All right, here you go.
Just from walking around the house, my assumption would be it's probably drug related because little blow torches down there.
Blow torches. Cialis.
But usually people don't have the blow torches or anything.
Go ahead and back up a couple extra ones. All right, ready? Yeah. Oh, wait, sorry. Yep. Okay. Yep. Tony, you're still not seeing anything else in that room? We're still in control. She said it's license up here. Everybody wants to get out. No one's been in, so that you found that bathroom. They brought them out. I didn't see anything from just from. All right, keep pause.
Oof.
That's his phone, so his son found it. All right, go ahead and feed my two. You can continue.
See anything obvious unless it's over.
Title 8. I don't think we've ever gotten above 10. Okay. Go pull my Gucci. And your history is he was still moaning. Son found him still moaning, trying to move, and then from there went out. Wife did a little bit of CPR, and then you got here.
So this is all right. We're
there was witness. Andy, let's listen to some lung sounds. You got good compliance.
Yeah. Timothy 4. You told me some ears.
I got some right here.
They got some.
You got it? What's your rhythm there, Andy?
We got an N-Tyler 12, so that just went up.
What's your what cardiac rhythm? Still PEA?
Yeah, Tony. We got to wait
Tony?
for him.
Can I have the endo lock?
Oh my gosh. So sorry about that. All right. Now, I just found this because I think it's interesting. This is Detective Vince Kiakamanu takes a stand, the Lori Daybell trial. So this is just interesting, this little blurb right here.
All right. And so if you're target practicing, you're going to want to be on target. Am I right?
Correct.
And the way to know that is to go through the internet, make these searches, find those kinds of things. Is that one way to do it?
Yes, it is.
Okay. Another way would be to find somebody who has one of these, and you can talk to them, and they can, you can form a club or whatever and be buddy and work it out that way, right?
Yes.
But if you're new to the area, one of the best ways to do that is to get online, right?
Correct.
All right.
This part right here. Allegedly.
And these Google searches that were done on October the 10th, the reason that you did a summary is because what the state reporter or what they told the court was because there was voluminous information, and it's to kind of square down and pack down what your pertinent ones were, right?
That's not why I looked these specific dates over, no.
Okay. But what you found on these specific dates, these are not the only searches that were done on those particular dates.
He's going to hate asking that question.
Correct.
All right. There were some searches that you didn't put on here.
On the Google search itself, like this says up at top, these were the Google searches of that day of this information.
All the Google searches?
Yes.
Every search that he did on that day is on this piece of paper.
There were some other searches as far as, if you'd like me to go in that, I can.
Yeah, tell me everything that was on that day.
There were other searches
midnight.
of,
Talking over the top of each other.
Okay. Starting from midnight, tell me every search that was on October the 10th, 2019 that came off of this Google account.
I'm not sure starting at midnight, but there were several searches of trannies. There were several searches of pornography that I didn't think was pertinent to this slide to bring in today.
Okay. So what you're saying is there are a lot of other things that were on this Google search that was done throughout the day rather than these particular searches that you made.
Correct.
Okay. So I guess what I'm saying is we're not trying to mislead.
I'm just saying, just the tranny part, and there's Alex taking Cialis and dying, but married to Zalima just a couple weeks before. I mean, and this is after shooting at Tammy. It is just weird.
19 that came off of this Google account.
I don't know.
I'm not sure starting at midnight, but there were several searches of trannies. There were several searches of pornography that I didn't think was.
Just saying. That's Alex Cox right there in a nutshell, in my opinion. So whatever, for what it's worth. Anyways, I don't know. It is interesting because it's different, like looking, again, like I said before, it was always so massive with Tylee and JJ, Idaho. Now it's those are done, out of the way. I still have more questions that, I think will always be, but this is more just focused on Arizona and what happened there to Charles and Brandon. So anyways, for what it's worth, yeah, me too. This is really when they weren't diagnosing those type like ADHD. And I didn't find out until I was an adult. Both my kids were ADHD, and I was like, well, maybe that's my problem too. So I talked to my doctor, my counselor, and together, yeah, interesting. And yeah, I'm still that way though, TC. Like, I have to be interested, or I move on and move from, but yeah, that's where I feel like I'm a little. I feel like I know that a lot of people can be on the spectrum, kind of, but I don't know. I really think that I am. anyways, and that's one of the things is like just it's like if other people aren't talking about what I want to talk about, I'm just kind of like, okay, I don't really care to entertain it too much, but anyways. Yeah, I used to act like a damn clown in school, do stuff to make people laugh. I got spanked by the principal one time. That's when I was making banner roll. That was in elementary school. Goodness. After that, But anyways, we'll have to, of course, it's been 3 hours now, so we'll pick up, I guess, where we left off, the next time, which will be, I'm gonna state it on the record. That way I will know. And it'll be page 222-ish. It's actually above that, but so page 219. So let me get back over there so I can see what I'm doing. Oh, you got your hand spanked in front of your class. Oh, and had to live in the hall. It was great. Andy loved being in the hall. It's a lot cooler in the hall. Oh, yeah. Hey, it makes a lot of sense. You're like, oh, okay. To me it did. I was like, that put a lot of things into perspective because you find out when you're diagnosed with adult ADHD, you've really been masking your entire existence, so, and some people just don't get the way I do things or the way my brain works, and it's frustrating for a lot of people. I understand when they say that, like, I'm hard to follow and this and that. It's just the way my brain connects things and goes from one thing to another. I don't finish a sentence or a thought. And so you'll hear me, I even did it today, where I'm like, she said this, and I'm like, by she, I mean Lori or whomever, because I'm like, okay, try to help where people can follow you. Try to be a more effective communicator. It's hard. It's hard when it's not natural. It's not natural. So you have to remind yourself of these things so that, you're not completely losing everybody in the dust. But anyways, all right. I miss you guys. I just want to sit here and bullshit with you, but yeah, it's been too long. It's been a long time that we've been live now. So trying to think if there's anything, and there's nothing I can think of right now. So yeah, I don't know how I pass either. I used to do my homework at work. I worked at my grandparents' store. I worked nights, so I'd get off of school at 3, drive straight to work, and I'd stay there till 11 at night, then go to bed and repeat. And I've kind of been talking to my bonus son. He's 14, and I'm like, yeah, pretty soon you'll be able to get a part-time job. And he's like, what? And I'm just like, it's nothing. It's not a punishment or anything. It's just getting you ready for the real world, Anyways, it's not a damn punishment. If anything, it gives you freedom because it gives you money in your pocket. You feel proud about it. You get that experience. And anyways, while you're still at home, basically. So yeah. And jumps make sense. I'm glad. I'm so glad, because a lot of times they don't even make sense to me. And I guess though, for sure doing this channel and everything has been a challenge because of my underlying, my diagnosis of ADHD, and severe, what is it called? Oh my God. Severe anxiety disorder. Okay, so I'm anxious, so I'm also like, I just kind of skits out sometimes. Not schizo, but you know what I mean. Just, I don't know another word. And then the trauma on top of that. And, it's just like compiled. It's like, it's heavy and it's a lot to work through. But it's worth it. It's been worth it. I've not regretted doing this and the way that I handled my grief, because it's been a very fulfilling way for me to grieve, to kind of get this off my chest, to just kind of discuss these things with all of you. And it's provided me a very safe place to kind of be myself and kind of, just share the journey with everybody as well. It's not just mine. It's our journey, and anyways, and we all hold a piece to this puzzle. So, I think that these live streams, these opportunities to get together to just bounce things off the wall, off of each other. And, I think that is one huge way to put these things together. So, and another thing, I did, found this channel is about demonology. Okay. And I'm just like, oh my God. Because I don't really understand it. Right. And I'm trying to understand it so that I can just be more knowledgeable about it. What you do with your enemy is you size it up, right? That's what you damn do. So, but there was this one little blurb where what the guy said, and I'm going to remind myself to do that for the next time we come on. And that way I can share that little part. It was about being bound and about the placement of the rocks kind of thing, anyways, it made sense and not the biblical aspect, but you know what I mean? Scriptural aspect. I don't know what to call it. Love you too, Angela. Appreciate y'all. If anybody's new here, if you would, it'll help the channel so much if you can like, share, subscribe, and talk about it in the comments below. The more you comment, the more interaction with the channel, basically, the less likely you are to be like signed out of it. Because there's a lot of times that I won't even be subscribed to somebody anymore. And I'm like, oh, no. I'm subscribed, It's weird. It does weird things by itself a lot. Anyways, love always wins. Justice for Tylee, Charles, Tammy, JJ, and Joe. Again, love always wins, and you're proof of this. Bye, guys.